got Western Michigan. Their resume is rock solid. 2 Big Ten road wins. Georgia Southern comes in. They're a very good team as well, though, and they've got an offense that's going to be very hard for Western to handle tonight.
You've got to be disciplined on defense. When you face the spread option, everybody's got to do exactly what they're supposed to do, or gaps get created. That can be a very big problem. The Broncos are going to have to be disciplined on defense to be able to stop this great offense.
Not one quarterback, but 2 quarterbacks lead that offensive surge for the Eagles.
Yeah, you can see these 2 young men. They're both similar in size. Both of them offer something a little bit different, though. But when you really look at both quarterbacks, they're going to be running this offense. And the very first one, Kevin Ellison. This guy does an outstanding job of finding his way through the holes and using his blockers properly to find himself into the end zone. He's done that a lot in his career. He's an outstanding quarterback and does a great job with that. Now you look at Fabian Upshaw. He's going to throw the ball a little bit more often, but he also can run as well. Similar bodies. These guys run this spread option like nobody's ever seen before. This is a great offense. This Georgia Southern offense is going to be explosive.
Western Michigan, you've only got 1 quarterback to worry about, but man, is he good. Zach Terrell, they lost last year at Georgia Southern. Not a good game for him. He's looking for some payback tonight, though.
Yeah, and he's got a great opportunity. You can see by those numbers. This is a guy who's been accurate, not just this year, 2016. You go through his career every single year. He's very accurate, throws very few interceptions, but this is a guy who's going to be looking downfield to that man all night long. When you look at Corey, he's the receiver he's going to be looking to, and Zach can run as well. He's got great speed. He's got NFL size. It's going to be a great matchup tonight.
The Broncos and the Eagles, 2 unbeaten teams, go head-to-head. Our kickoff when we come back to Kalamazoo.
Georgia Southern has won the toss.
Just a beautiful night for football here in Kalamazoo, as late September weather cooperating nicely. And man, this Bronco football crowd is revved up, coming back home. Pete, off the great road win at Illinois, they dominated in that game, and that is not something that a MAC opponent does when they go to Big Ten country very often. Here's PJ Fleck. Man, we love what he has done here at Western Michigan. He is young, he is fired up, a rising star in the coaching circuit. He says this team doesn't forget their past. That's why they are building towards the future. They just won 1 game in his first year. On the other sideline, Tyson Summers, a guy coming into this job, the former CSU defensive coordinator, taking over for Willie Fritz in December. Pete, he doesn't have to change a lot about the culture of this program.
No.
This was a good team that he got, and he's just trying to kind of make them play at a little bit higher level.
Yeah, and outstanding coach. You look at his resume, 2 very young coaches who are doing an outstanding job. And PJ, when you look at what he's been able to do here, what he's accomplished in a short period of time with the Broncos, it's really astounding. And when you really look at the recruiting classes, that's what he's known for. He is a great recruiter. He's got great enthusiasm. He's attracted a lot of great athletes, and that's why I think we're seeing him go into Northwestern, a very difficult place to play these days, and go and beat them. And then a couple weeks later, you go down to Illinois and you take it to Lovie Smith in the Illinois. It's just an amazing thing what they've accomplished. They're not done. They're just starting this season 3-0, but that's a great start. And I think when you look over across the field, you've got a coach over there that understands winning, and this is a program that's got 6 national titles.
The Eagles win the toss. They are electing to defer, so Western Michigan gets the football from the west end zone. Darius Phillips catches it, or not, lets it go. What a boot by Younghoe Koo, the place kicker for the Eagles. And Western Michigan brings their offense out first. What do they want to do early to keep this game in their tempo?
Right. Well, I think they've got to start off with what they've got. They've got 2 of the best running backs in the MAC. There's absolutely no question about that with Bogan and Franklin. So they're going to try to get that established early on to get that running game. But there's no doubt in my mind they're going to put that ball in the air fairly soon as well and look for Corey Davis. Number 84 is going to be the target. Zach Terrell's just an outstanding quarterback. He knows where to get that ball, and he's going to be looking for big number 84.
2 teams that really thrive on time of possession. Western is so good at it, and you know the Eagles want to do that when they run the football. Here's Terrell under center on 1st and 10 for the Broncos. And it's a run near side. Broncos don't have much room there as Jamari Bogan on the run. He's a guy that's got home run speed for them. He really hurt Illinois last week, had 100 yards rushing against Northwestern in week 1. We'll be definitely watching him, and he is one of our impact players. Defensively, for the Eagles on defense, Jay Ellison, the nose tackle, had an interception and has very nimble feet. So watch for him to be very mobile for the Eagles. Second down and long for Western Michigan. Play action, and the ball is tipped incomplete. Kind of dangerous. Carrington Thompson maybe should have had that ball, and now the Broncos are looking at 3rd and long.
Yeah, and that's not where they want to be. You talk about what do they want to do early on, but you can see right here, Zach Terrell, what a great throw that was. It bounced right off of the chest of Thompson. Thompson's got to make that catch. You have to help your quarterback early on. That would have been a first down. Now they're in a 3rd and very long, 3rd and 10. Very difficult situation, but this is a quarterback who knows how to execute. He knows how to move those chains.
Jesse Liptrot put the hit that knocked that ball down. 3rd and long. Terrell, little bubble screen here for Davis. Gets creative, stays up, but is nowhere near a Bronco first down. Darius Sapp on the stop for the Eagles. Mission accomplished. They're getting the football in just a moment here.
Right, and that's not really the offense they want to run. They don't want to put themselves in 3rd and long. When you've got those 2 running backs with Jarvian Franklin and Jamari Bogan, you expect to be in 3rd and 3. 3rd and long is not what you want to be in, and you can see the way that defense, they might be big up front. Darius Sapp, 330 pounds. They all run really, really well.
Monte Crockett is the return man on this punt. He'll let it bounce, and it doesn't really help out Western too much. It rolls inside the 30-yard line. So it's time to watch, very much possession-oriented offense here. They keep it on the ground. They keep it safe. If you're a wide receiver in this Eagles offense, you're probably not going to get a lot of touches in any given series.
No, but if you do get some touches, you'll look for number 12, B.J. Johnson on the outside. That's been the target so far this year. They're not going to throw the ball a lot. As a matter of fact, you look across the way and you look at Terrell, he's going to throw more passes in the first 4 games than this team, Georgia Southern, threw all of last year. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of how little they're going to throw the ball. But this triple threat option, this is something to watch that's really, really exciting.
Ellison handing off on first down, not much there. L.A. Ramsby, the ball carrier. Didn't get a lot.
It's more of a methodical, sort of a thumping type of an offense. You're going to get a 1-yard play, but then you're going to get a break for a 7-yard play, and then occasionally you're going to get those long runs. That's what this offense really is.
Impact players, Matt Breida is the go-to guy in their running game. Keon Adams on the defensive end, coming off a very good game against Illinois. Second down, a quarterback keep. They don't get a whole lot. They get it out beyond the 30.
And that's just all a read play. That's giving Ellison the opportunity. What does he see in front of him? If the lineman takes to the outside, he's going to cut it up. It looked to me like that time probably the right read. He wanted to keep that ball. 3rd and 4 or 5, not so bad, not a bad position for this offense.
So the Eagles trying to sustain this opening drive after Western went 3 and out. Ball is at the 33-yard line. They're about 5 yards away, and they run. They get a pretty good push, but the Broncos have enough to shut it down.
Well, and this is a defense that last week we saw just how well they did against Illinois. They stopped the running game, and that's what they're facing today, but this is a completely different running game. And so far, the first series, both teams just sort of feeling themselves out a little bit, and both offenses that we know are explosive, just kind of getting their feet underneath them right now. And I think the second series, we're going to see a few more first downs.
Matt Flynn will punt for Georgia Southern. And we'll get a flag before the snap. Looks like a false start.
False start. Offense number 86. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
That's Greg Bloom, our referee tonight. And the Broncos will maybe get some better field position here.
What a
Phillips.
punt.
Wow, he has to track that, catches it inside the 25, but he's got a burst of speed. Stopped at about the 43-yard line, still up. We saw him break a punt return for a touchdown 2 weeks ago He is electric on special teams for Western Michigan. Timeout here in Kalamazoo. Early on, the Broncos trying to fire up that home crowd here at Waldo Stadium. The Broncos come on with good field position here on their second offensive series. So far, we haven't seen much in the way of offense, but that can certainly change with the playmakers that the Broncos have. Davis is towards the top of your screen. Terrell's going to throw. Lots of time. Now he's going to run and get outside. A first down and then some for Zach Terrell. We say he's not going to beat you with his feet, but he certainly is confident in that area.
He absolutely is, and sometimes he does. And I'll tell you what, this is a guy with 4.6 speed, so he doesn't want to run. They don't necessarily want him to run, but that's a great decision. There was nobody open, well covered, and he pushes it downfield and gets a first down. That's how you extend the play. That's how you move the chains. 1st and 10 on the other side of the 50.
All the way down to the 45. The Broncos on the move with the game's first down. The handoff is Franklin. He'll try and shake 2 tacklers. Can't quite get out, but he does pick up 5 yards.
And that was linebacker. That's Ironhead Galen, the linebacker there, making that tackle. But I'll tell you what, when you watch Bogan, you watch Franklin, you see you have 2 different styles. Franklin much bigger and thicker. Bogan very quick. He's a smaller guy, 5'7", 190 pounds. So Zach Terrell definitely has to keep an eye on who he's got and when he decides to leave that ball in their belly. That time, a great decision by the quarterback.
Western inside the 40 at about the 37. Terrell again. Now he'll roll out near side and throw and incomplete. Looking for Harrington Thompson. Not a well-thrown ball. Here's Bogan's highlight reel last week at Illinois. This is very impressive work.
Yeah, we talk about the differences, the contrast of these running backs. This is speed, and this is a guy with a lot of speed. He's running past Big Ten players and not only running past them, blowing by them and extending plays, getting himself into the end zone. That's why they whooped up on Illinois last week.
And Western Michigan already in a very good position as they start conference play next week. A big challenge to start the season. They play Friday night at Central Michigan. Of course, they will. PJ Fleck says, you know what, we don't ever want to lay off the gas. We want to ramp it up this week, continue to play well. They have set the standard in every game they've played so far this year. And that's why they're off to the 3-0 start. They'll run near side. Here's Bogan, wide open, a great ankle tackle, saves what could have been a touchdown down to about the 20-yard line. Boy, that burst of speed is something else.
You got to like the way this is a great read once again. The quarterback coming down, you can see right there, pulls it out and then leaves it in the belly that time for Bogan. Gives him a great opportunity, and look at that offensive line is making some monstrous holes on that right side. They got Luke Juriga, the guard on that side. By the way, his brother, I played against him in college. His brother was a great tackle at Illinois, played in the NFL a long time.
Franklin on the carry, not much in the middle. And we just mentioned Ironhead Galen on that tackle. That's not a made-up name.
Right.
The first name is, we're taking some liberties, but that's what he wants to be called.
Right.
So
there's some great names out there. This is a tough defense, but they've got their work cut out for them, because when you look at that front 5 up front for Western Michigan, not only do they have great size, you've got 2 tackles well over 300 pounds apiece and 300 across the middle 3. That's a big offensive line that's very athletic and does a nice job of staying on their blocks.
Western is at the Georgia State 21-yard line, 2nd down and 8. Terrell's got plenty of time, throwing in the middle, way over the head of his intended wideout. Looking for Donnie Ernsberger on that running route across the middle, but didn't really have a good throw on that one.
No, and that's unusual, because this is a guy we talk about how accurate he really is. Now, he hasn't thrown an interception yet this year, and that's part of his accuracy, but usually you can watch him and the ball is hitting the receivers either in the chest or on the hands. That time a little bit misdirected by him on his release. Just didn't seem to have the right feel on the ball.
Broncos trying to get inside the 15-yard line for a first down here on 3rd down. Terrell, man, he camps out in the middle, completes in the middle. to the wideout. Michael Henry, Western Michigan moves the chains, and they are inside the 10 to about the 6.
And there's differences. You've got Corey Davis on the outside, a big guy, 6'3", 200 and almost 20 pounds, and then Michael Henry, who's much smaller.
They go to Franklin. Not much for Jarvion, but they're going to keep banging away.
He's 6 foot, he's 230 pounds. When you get down by that goal line, you'd expect to see him maybe get that football, and they're missing one of their middle linebackers, so you're seeing number 34 in there, Chris De La Rosa, who's done a nice job so far, made a couple of tackles, but that offensive line is opening up some very, very big holes right now up the middle.
Broncos looking at 2nd and goal. They're at the 5-yard line. Bogan on the carry, weaving his way in the end zone for a Western touchdown. Followed his blockers and got over that stripe for 6.
Well, you know, right in the middle of that offensive line is the center, John Kianoy. Let me tell you something, 6'3", 305 pounds, started every game last year and starting again this year. He and Jariga right there on the right side, they're just opening up some very big holes. And you can see right there, just a quick trap play, was able to catch the defender as he's coming in. The big guys up front, they're big. Darius Smith, and Sapp rather, weighs 330 pounds, and Ellison's 310, but they're moving. And when you get movement, you find holes.
PAT is good, and the Broncos are up 7-0. And Western striking first. The 4-yard touchdown run at Western Michigan. Jamari Bogan setting the stage for this Western Michigan offense. Timeout here in Kalamazoo. PJ Fleck and the Broncos are fired up. 7-0 is our Bronco lead here at Western. Jamari Bogan now has a rushing touchdown in all 4 Western Michigan games this year, and he gets the Broncos up 7-0 in this first quarter.
And you can see what we're talking about with this offensive line. Just look at the big gap there. You don't ever find those kind of holes that deep into territory from just a couple of yards out. But the offensive line doing a great job of getting those blocks, getting position, moving themselves to get that hole established. Jamari Bogan did an excellent job finding his way into the end zone.
Matt Breida is the deep return man on special teams for Georgia State.
They got to answer.
Georgia Southern's Eagles trying to get things turned in the other direction. They know that this is not a game that's going to be especially high scoring, and you don't want to have to come back and try and win big. Here's the return by Breida. He gets going out to about the 25 to the 26-yard line.
Got a little something going on down there, too.
Well, these two teams, remember they played each other last year down in the September heat in Georgia, and it was a whooping that PJ Fleck's Western Michigan Broncos took in that game. So the Broncos are loving this home cooking tonight here in Kalamazoo.
No, there's no doubt about it, and it's always great to be at home. You get that advantage. You've got the crowd behind you. You're 3-0. You've come off a couple of Big Ten victories, and now you've got to continue that momentum. You can't just suddenly go to sleep. It doesn't look like they are. So now Georgia's going to have to come back. Georgia Southern's going to have to come back and get some first downs and establish that running game that we know is so great.
So the quarterback carousel continues. This is Upshaw handing off on first down, and there is nothing there for Matt Breida. Keon Adams, we keyed on him, and he delivers with a big hit and a takedown for Western.
Yeah, Keon Adams is one of these guys that we might be seeing on Sundays because people in the NFL have been talking about how good he is. Look at how well he just rides himself along the line of scrimmage, does an excellent job of not biting too deep, and he's right there for Breida to make that stop. Great job, shows a lot of discipline out of Adams.
That's a no gain on first down. They're going to run the option. Little bit of trickery, but not much there for Upshaw as he keeps.
Well, I tell you what, I can't tell you how impressive it is so far. It's just the second series now, but to watch how the defense, they're doing exactly what we talked about. Western Michigan, these Broncos, they've got to stay disciplined. They cannot jump. They cannot make decisions without making the correct read, or you're going to find those huge gaps. So far, they've done a great job.
3rd and 7. This is not the kind of situation that the Eagles like to face. They are a run-first offense, but they'll throw here. near sideline, and it is caught, taken out of bounds, and that's a first down pickup. B.J. Johnson makes the big grab, and it moves the chains for the Eagles of Georgia Southern.
And Upshaw is the quarterback who's given the most opportunities to throw the football. And so far this year, he's been pretty good with it, throwing about 50%. Not great, but good enough. This is an outstanding pass, and B.J. Johnson is the target. He's already got 8 catches, make it 9. Did a nice job of getting that first down out of a very difficult 3rd and 7 against this Broncos defense.
From the 42-yard line. It's a quarterback keep, and he's going to run. Oh, he took a good hit. A couple of Bronco defenders put the crunch on him there, but Upshaw holding on to it. Justin Tranquil on the stop.
Yeah, it looked like he had a shot to get Breida maybe that ball a little bit further downfield and throw that option out there, because that is part of the key to this. You're not just optioning right at the line of scrimmage. You're continuing downfield, and as that back is trailing behind the quarterback, at any moment, Upshaw can still release that ball, get it back to any of those guys, and Breida was right there. Look for that later on in the game.
Quarterback keep in the middle with some space. Good tackle for Western Michigan, but Upshaw continues to play well. Justin Tranquil again on the tackle. Another first down pickup, and now you get a sense that this Eagles offense is settling in. And again, the pass converting for that first down really takes a little bit of pressure off of them offensively.
Yeah, it certainly does. And when you start saying the names of the secondary making the tackles, that's a problem. When we don't hear the linebacker names, that is an issue. That time, great job by the defense stepping up.
That's Breida on the carry, maybe a yard. Question for you, with the challenges of trying to scheme defensively for an offense like this, how hard is that to compete for players in practice during the week?
Well, it's really difficult because nobody runs this offense. When I say nobody, there's a few teams out there. There's Navy and Army and a few of these teams, and obviously Georgia Southern. It's just all about discipline. And in this day and age of college football, it's more about athleticism. This isn't as much about athleticism. It's far more about making the right decisions, being disciplined, and staying in your lane.
Throwing on first down, deep ball. He's got a man deep. Caught in stride. Touchdown, Wesley Fields. And the Eagles have answered with a big play from their quarterback.
And who would have guessed that their first score was going to be in the air? I mean, that's something that I don't think anybody did. But we talked about who's thrown the ball the most. It's Upshaw. And Fabian Upshaw, he showed very nice job of putting the right kind of touch downfield, giving it and allowing the opportunity for Wesley Fields to run underneath the football, make that catch for the touchdown. You can see, not a lot of pressure, and Upshaw does a nice job of getting that ball up in the air.
44 yards on a picture-perfect throw from Upshaw to Wesley Fields. And the extra point is good. Well, so much for that consistent ground game.
Yeah.
The Eagles can air it out pretty well, too. 7-7 is our score here. Western and Georgia Southern. More first half football when we come back to Kalamazoo. Turn these lights on. Well, you know Georgia Southern's Eagles would not be fazed by Western Michigan. The 3-0 record looks very good, but this long ball throw really gets this team back in the game.
No doubt about it, and you got to love the touch that Upshaw puts on this. He puts the ball up in the air, kind of floats it a little bit, that allows Fields to be able to run underneath that ball. Just a perfect pitch and catch. You can't draw it up any better. Tom Brady doesn't throw that any better. That's what they need to be able to do when they put themselves into a position where they suddenly are getting some acceleration in the running game. They're getting 7 yards instead of 2 yards. That forces the defense to come up. When they come up, you beat them deep.
Kickoff is going to be taken in the end zone and no return. Tyler Bass handling the place kicking for Georgia Southern. And Zach Terrell, well, has been a little quiet in the passing game so far. And this is a challenge, too, for, P.J. Fleck and what they want to run offensively. You're not going to open your game plan up because of the way Georgia Southern plays. You want to retain time of possession. That's always what Western Michigan tries to do. And they start from the 25. Here's Bogan. Maybe a couple yards.
The thing that makes Zach Terrell so good is the fact that when he's in the pocket and looking downfield, if it's not there, he doesn't force it. We talk about his accuracy. He doesn't force it. He'll tuck and run with the football. On a play like that, however, that was a better, if he was a read quarterback, like you see on the other side of the football, you'd actually want to hold on to that ball, but they weren't biting and there was nowhere for that run, and that's why they put themselves in a spot now where just a short gain on first down.
The Georgia State fans, Georgia Southern fans wondering where Ukeme Elegwe is. He did not travel with the team. Coach's decision. So they're thin at middle linebacker. All that time for Terrell, wide open. And Western Michigan finally gets taken down, but it's Michael Henry making noise in the passing game, and the Broncos move into Eagles territory.
He absolutely is. He's done a nice job of finding himself towards the center of the field. They're looking on the outside with Corey Davis, but in the center of the field, Michael Henry is a little bit smaller, but he's very, very quick. Nice job running that route and putting himself in a position where Zach Terrell can look down the field, and a perfect strike for that first down.
25 yards to the Eagles' 47. Bogan on the run, into the pile, and they push. And he won't go down, but he stays up. And what we've noticed so far in the passing game for Western Michigan is Zach Terrell has a lot of time to throw, and that cannot make the Georgia Southern fans very comfortable.
Yeah, they're going to have to figure out ways as this game moves on, and I know it's still relatively early, but we're most of the way through the first quarter. They've got to figure out ways to get pressure on him, and that means they're going to have to start bringing the blitz, because so far that front five has done an excellent job of protecting the quarterback.
Bogan again. It's a little bit more room, but not much. It's going to bring up 3rd and maybe 4 for Western Michigan's Broncos.
And you know, it's a great opportunity as the home team. You can see just how quickly they're shuffling in and out players and shifting them around. And defensively, they're standing out there. They're getting a little bit blown right now. They're feeling like they're getting pushed back. This is a 3rd and very makeable for the quarterback. They can continue to move these chains. PJ Fleck obviously dialing something up right now. Look for the outside. Corey Davis, 84. Look for that name.
It's a run for Franklin. He tries to spin away. Gets close to that first down marker, but I got to think he's about a yard short. Jay Ellison on the Eagles' defensive front there, making the stop and denying the Broncos. Looks like about 4th and 2.
You talked about impact players, Jay Ellison being one of the big fellow up front. His normal job is he's going to hold up as many guys up front as he can and let the linebackers flow. Well, that time he not only held up the offensive lineman, he made the tackle. Great job by the big fellow up front, but look at these guys going for it on 4th down.
PJ Fleck trying to keep this offense on the field. Zach Terrell's got a lot of weapons. We'll see who he locks in on here. He'll throw all kinds of time. Now he runs wide open in the middle of the field. No sweat. Western gets the first down.
Again, what a great decision by Zach. That time he goes back in the pocket. Nobody's even close to him. He feels a little bit of pressure late, and then he looks downfield, uses his eyes, uses that 4.6 speed we talked about. Look at him. He's looking. Everybody seems to be covered. He has to tuck the ball. It's a short gain is all he needs. He gets a lot more than that, and now deep into Georgia Southern territory.
Chris De La Rosa makes the tackle. Western at the 32-yard line.
Pass in the Georgia Southern passing game. That doesn't happen often, but the 44-yard hookup is why we're dead even at 7. As we take a look at some numbers from that first quarter, well, nothing. What jumps out at you here? Anything unusual?
No, I would say actually it's just been a really well-played football game so far, and I think if there's one surprise about anything, it's the passing yards. And the fact that Georgia Southern is in front of Western Michigan in passing yards, that's not something we expected. We sort of expected the exact opposite. We expect, well, maybe they'd have 50, 60 yards on the ground, maybe 20, 25 yards passing. So that flip, I think, is a little bit surprising. But other than that, two great football teams, great matchup with one that's normally a rushing team and the other one that's normally the passing team.
Remember last year the Eagles ran for 413 yards on Western Michigan. That is a serious ground game as flags fly before the snap.
Prior to snap, false start. Offense, number 52. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, unfortunately, John Kenoy is getting his name called a little bit more, a number called a little more often than he'd like, because he had that holding call earlier and now another penalty, and they've moved themselves into what looks to be a first and forever.
They're back to about the 37. Play action for Terrell. Deep ball in the middle, caught, and Western Michigan gets the score. Coming across the middle, Michael Henry again. Corey Davis, who? Yeah. Michael Henry says, it's my game tonight.
And it certainly has been, and so far, and Zach doesn't matter, it doesn't matter to him who's getting the ball. He's just looking downfield, and it's almost the exact same play that keeps working, and so why not keep going back to it? Michael Henry coming on a crossing pattern across the field and beating the defenders, and Zach Terrell just done a nice job, the offensive line. Look at the protection, number one. Nobody near him. Releases that football, the crossing pattern. Looks like some confusion in the secondary. It's a very young secondary. They lost at least 2 or 3 of the players in the last year or so, and so it's very young, and he's exploiting it right now.
Butch Hampton on the PAT, a 7-play, 75-yard drive. 37 yards on the hookup with Zach Terrell hitting Michael Henry, and Western Michigan back in business here at Western.
And you just got to like what the offensive line is doing. Look at how they've completely stuffed up front. Gives Terrell a great opportunity to look downfield. Perfect pass. We talked about his accuracy. That is a guy who put the ball right on the money, right where it's supposed to be, and Henry comes up with the catch and the touchdown. So the yards after catch, look at that. Takes another 18 yards, beats all the defenders into the corner of the end zone. I think you said it best. Corey who? Corey Davis who? Although let's not downplay that too much.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
We'll get his presence felt very soon, I'm sure.
Yeah. Fleck calls him the playmaker, and that's for a good reason. When you look at the stats of this guy, the numbers that he has put up on his career, they're absolutely astounding. One of the better receivers, not just in the MAC, but in the entire country.
So a couple of long touchdown passes on each side. Western had the early 4-yard touchdown run, and we're even at 7. This is Crockett on the return. Look at this big hole with some speed. It closes, but he stays up. Now he's got some more room outside the 40. Very good return by Monte Crockett. He's a weapon big time on special teams. Brown on the tackle for Western.
Well, you've got to cover. After you score, you want to pin them back deep, and it's a great kick, deep, high, and yet Crockett is able to manage to figure out a way to get through all kinds of different traffic. Nice job by him, and it was really not a lot of holes there, but he was able to find the different spots. Nice job getting it downfield. Look at this field position now, nearly to midfield.
36 yards on the kickoff return, and man, is Georgia Southern in good shape. First down, they're going to run. And there isn't much there at all. Free to the ball carrier. They contained him very, very well. Eric Asua on the Western stop.
And these two outside defensive ends, Asua that time did a nice job. We talked about Keon Adams a couple of times, just being very patient. That's what you've got to be when you're a defensive end. You can't come rushing down into that center part of the field. You've got to play in your gap and then move your way down, and as you do that, you can actually close it down and close away and get those tackles. But that's the discipline of those defensive ends.
Fabian Upshaw with some time. Now he'll throw. It is complete underneath and still on his feet. This is Miles Campbell getting the first down for Georgia Southern.
Well, you know, when you expect the run, you got to change it up a little bit, and great pass that time once again out to the outside. Miles Campbell, by the way, 5'6", but look at the nice job Fabian does of stepping up in the pocket, eludes a little bit of a rush from the outside and gets that ball out there. Another perfect pass by Fabian Upshaw.
They get 14 yards. Boy, some big plays in the passing game so far for Georgia Southern.
I wouldn't have thought it.
Breida will pound it up inside and not get much. Maybe inside the 40.
Well, that offensive line, they're really not getting a whole lot of push right now. And because of that, when you look at Breida and Fields in the middle part of the offensive line, there's really nowhere to go. There's no real gaps. There's no holes being created. So credit the defense, but also that offensive line up front. Right now, they're getting beat, but they're doing a nice job of pass protecting. So Fabian Upshaw's had a nice job of getting back there and having plenty of time to survey the field.
Upshaw on the option. He'll keep. He'll get some room inside the 35, down to about the 32. Robert Spillane on the tackle, but boy, he has got some good range. Doesn't look like he's very big physically, but he's got a lot of mobility.
Yeah, I'll tell you, when we talk about the linebackers scraping and making tackles like that, that's just an outstanding job that time by Robert Spillane. Just a junior, another one of these guys. Now, P.J. Fleck does a great job of recruiting. He recruits Illinois really well. This is another young man out of Illinois, out of Oak Park.
Really, Northern Illinois is where he played his college football. Look at this run by Wesley Fields. Justin Ferguson on the stop. Fields had the long touchdown catch. Now the explosion run, and the Eagles grab another first down.
Well, it's why, and I was talking to a young lady today in the hotel. She was asking me, why do they keep pounding it in the middle when there's nothing there? And I said, well, you keep pounding it because sooner or later there will be something there. This is exactly what happens here. Finally, the offensive line creates a gap. Fields finds that huge hole. Great trap blocking up front by the offensive line.
Upshaw. He'll keep, and Western Michigan just contained that play absolutely perfectly. Adams chased him out. Whether he kept it or tossed it, that play was not going to develop.
It was dead in the water, and Adams, again, we talk about the discipline. When you're a defensive end going against an offense like this, you've got to be disciplined. You can't leave your area on the field. That time, a great job by Keon Adams. This kid, I've talked to a couple of the NFL scouts out there. They really like what he brings to the table. He's 6'2", 250 pounds out of Salisbury, North Carolina. He can run.
Breida, nope, it's a quarterback keep. Pretty good misdirection. They pounded inside the 20. David Curley on the stop for Western Michigan. Tyson Cummings told us earlier this week that he was adamant that he would be platooning these quarterbacks back and forth from series to series. But then we found out earlier today, well, he might back off on that a little bit, and that's why we're seeing more Upshaw here.
Yeah, I think he changed his mind pretty quickly after he's seen a couple of the passes that Fabian's been able to execute out there, and executing really well on the option, running it down the line of scrimmage.
Upshaw going far, open end zone, incomplete. Boy, if a better thrown ball might have got a touchdown for B.J. Johnson. He got clear, but that ball wasn't thrown right to him.
Yeah, I think what we're looking at here, though, is Upshaw's just putting that ball in the air and saying, hey, look, go up and get it. And B.J. Johnson's not huge, but 6'1". That ball wasn't thrown where it should have been. B.J. Johnson needs to react a little bit quicker and turn himself back around to be able to make that catch, but that one's really on Fabian Upshaw.
Sam Beal on the cover. This is Younghoe Koo with the 35-yard field goal attempt, and it is good. And the Eagles convert on that series. They get the field goal, and they trail by 4 points.
And more importantly, they're moving the ball up and down the field, and they're having enough success throwing the football that you've got to like what Upshaw right now is doing for this offense.
Western on top. Their football when we return to Western. Two teams that put a premium on ball control head-to-head tonight, the Eagles and the Broncos, and, well, Georgia Southern with the lead right now, but they don't lead on the scoreboard. But obviously a lot of football left here as Bass gets set to kick off.
What a beautiful night.
Oh, perfect.
Started off kind of crummy out here today, a little bit of overcast, a little drizzly almost, and suddenly it turned into absolutely a spectacular night.
Darius Phillips in his end zone, and he's coming out. And he's coming out with some speed. He turns it back. Now he's got a lot of green in front of him. Inside the 30, one man to beat. Touchdown, Western Michigan.
Oh, is that a backbreaker? Things can change in a hurry.
When he's got the football, watch out. An explosion. 100 yards, Western Michigan.
Well, it looks like a great kick, but we already talked about Western Michigan had not covered their kick very well. We can see right here, everybody sucked into one side of the field. He found the one gap, and when he cuts across the field, there's nobody left. It's just looking downfield towards the end zone, and Phillips, with his speed, outruns everybody. Wow.
You know, we didn't really check what the over-under was going to be on this game. We didn't think it was going to be 31 points with 10:14 left in our first half. Another break in Kalamazoo, a breakout return by Darius Phillips, and the Broncos are rowing the boat here against Georgia Southern. Well, if you just ran a kick back 100 yards, you deserve a chance to sit down. There's Darius Phillips, still breathing heavy. He puts the special in the Western Michigan special teams. And wow.
That's all you can say. I mean, that was an absolutely incredibly good job of doing everything we were talking about in the break. What you're supposed to do, you go north-south, and eventually you're going to have to cut across normally to make that play. Former wide receiver, he knows what he's doing with the football.
And the Eagles will down it in the end zone. Breida, well, he tried to match it, said,
yeah, he thought about it.
Yeah, we'll try something else, strategy-wise.
He really did give it a thought for a real, it was a moment, but he thought about it.
Well, this is not reminiscent at all of last year's meeting when it was Georgia Southern just pounding on Western Michigan. But the change in climate, the change in stadium, and you got Zach Terrell playing with a full complement of weapons, including Corey Davis. Corey has not been a prime target today. Michael Henry's been filling that role, but we'll see what the Eagles do now on offense here.
With Ellison. Ellison's back in at quarterback, so let's see if that changes some of the play calling.
So they run. This is Wesley Fields. He tries to turn back. That doesn't work out at all. Andre Turner snuffs it out. And it's a negative play for Georgia Southern.
I'll tell you what, that's a big man. I stood down on the field next to Andre Turner, and look at him chasing down. Big number 5 catches him in the backfield. I'll tell you what, he throws down Wesley Fields like he's just a little small puppy down there. That's a big man chasing you. Whew.
Andre Turner turns that into a 6-yard loss on second down. It's the quarterback heap. Now a toss. Oh, it's on the turf. Western's going to jump on it. It's Bronco football.
Well, that was about as perfect as you can play the option. And that defensive end, we've been talking about guys playing this perfectly, and they've done a great job, not gotten much on the outside, most of the running when they've had some gaps on the inside, but just an outstanding job by the defender here. Just take a look at Ellison coming down the line. He looks, almost throws it, then he finally does. Wow.
Tremendous Western Michigan defense there. Justin Ferguson. And now it's Western Michigan. Now this is where it's very precarious for Georgia Southern. You've got Western Michigan, a short field. Broncos already up 11 points. Bogan's going to carry in the middle. Maybe a yard.
Well, those big fellas up front doing a nice job right in the center there, but I'll tell you what, you cannot play the option better than these guys do right here. Just a nice job. Comes down the field, and you can tell just a great job by the defender there. Number 17, I'll tell you what, Justin Ferguson, he absolutely played that perfectly.
Terrell, far side, complete. Little curl route for Corey Davis.
He's a big receiver. He's very comfortable throwing him the football. He's had so much success with these crossing patterns with Michael Henry, but they don't want Davis not to feel like he's a part of this offense, and even if he's double covered, they're going to get him the football.
They go quick. They go to the far side, forced out at about the 11-yard line. Western Michigan keeping their offense in high gear here. 4th down and short, they're going to go for it. Here's Bogan on the run, spins out of a tackle and falls ahead for a Western first down.
I like what P.J. Fleck is doing here. Now, that's the second time on 4th down he's made a quick decision and said, look, we're going for it. It doesn't really matter. This time it's a little easier decision, deep inside the 10-yard line, but a nice job and a good job that time by Bogan, making sure he gets that first down.
Jesse Liptrot fell coming off the field for Georgia Southern. The redshirt freshman from Atlantic Beach, so they're going to tend to him. And P.J. Fleck will, of course, take that opportunity to coach his team up.
Absolutely. This guy, I'll tell you what, he's known as the turnaround guy, and everybody, you can tell in the pregame and when you're standing there down on the field as they're going through some of the stretching exercises, these guys love him. They believe in this whole row the boat thing, and they are all in, and they believe in P.J. Fleck. And I'll tell you what, he's always recruiting, he's always coaching. This guy never loses his energy, and he's just a lot of fun to watch. And I'll tell you what, people are going to have to watch out because they're going to have to do everything in their power to keep other teams, other schools from coming in here and looking at that man for a head coaching job somewhere else.
Ball from the, let's call it the 7-yard line, maybe the 8. 1st and goal for Western Michigan. Terrell, all kinds of time, end zone, touchdown, what a grab. Western Michigan, the hookup.
Well, Thompson dropped one earlier. He hadn't seen a ball since he dropped that one that hit him right in the chest, and now he goes right back to him, and this time he makes an absolutely outstanding catch because he is covered, and yet Zach drills the ball, gives him an opportunity, comes down with the football.
He gets an extra for style points on this grab. What a well-thrown ball.
Yeah, and look, is there anybody even close to him? The offensive line is unreal, but he absolutely rifles the ball. He puts it up high, gives Thompson a great opportunity. 6'2", he's a good-sized wide receiver. And that secondary, they're depleted, and he's taking advantage of it right now.
Western Michigan capping off the 20-yard drive in 5 plays, 1 minute, 35 seconds. The Broncos are the real deal. Last year, they struggled against the Eagles. This year, it's payback.
I'll tell you what, those big 5 guys up front get all the credit in the world, but Zach Terrell just that time drills the football. Look at the front group right there. There is nobody in front of him. He puts it up high. Outstanding job going up high and coming down with that football. That's a great pair of hands right there. Woo.
Georgia Southern cannot get pressure on Zach Terrell, and that is why the scoreboard is lopsided heavy in favor of the Broncos.
Well, I'll tell you what, big number 77, your left tackle, everybody talks about the blind side, and Okafor calls him Chooks. That big fellow out there, 6'6", 333 pounds, doing a nice job keeping people off of his quarterback. And when you look at he and Day and Kenoy and Jariga and Mott, absolutely all 5 guys doing an outstanding job. Quarterback's been hit maybe once or twice back there, and that's about it because they've done everything they're supposed to do up front.
We saw those cheerleaders knocking out those push-ups, and they thought, hey, this was supposed to be a low-scoring game is what you guys told us. What happened?
They're kind of hoping the scoring's done.
P.J. Fleck says, we aren't finished yet at all, as the Broncos will kick off. And now it is a big-time change. Ball taken out of the end zone. Here's Crockett, and a big stick and a takedown tackle. Spears on that hit. And everything working right now for Western.
Yeah, and Spears closed down quick because it looked like there was a gap there, and I think that it looked to me like if he can get past Spears, he might get another 20, 30 yards downfield before he actually gets tackled, but Great job that time by Western Michigan covering the kick. We've seen a couple of big returns on both sides of the ball so far, and now you're inside your own 20. You've got to find something that's going to move this offense right now, and it's interesting to see that Kevin Ellison's still back in the game.
Where Upshaw had the good passing plays that really fired up the offense. Here's an option and a good decision to keep, and they almost get the first down.
Yeah, great decision that time. Kevin Ellison running the option exactly like you're supposed to. He's looking downfield, and when the defensive end moves out and takes the back, you got to cut it upfield. He did that. Nice job of getting a huge gain on first down.
Ball at the Eagles 24. Ellison hands off, and there's nothing in the middle for Matt Breida.
I'll tell you, you can see this. Andre Turner, these big fellas in the middle are just playing some great football. Look at how they stand their ground and they close quickly. Great job that time. Andre Turner stands the man up, stands against his offensive lineman, stands him straight up, and once he does that, he's won. Throws him, makes the tackle. Great job by big number 5.
Big third down here for the Eagles. They got to keep their offense on the field. Quarterback keep, and a little bit, maybe a first down. Depends on the spot. He's awfully close.
Yeah.
Andre Turner on the tackle. Looked like he might have enough space, but Western collapsed.
They got it.
First down.
They didn't even measure it. Looked close enough to maybe want to measure that one, but those chains move pretty quick.
That's just fine for Georgia Southern.
Yeah, it is. This is Western. I mean, we're looking at Western Michigan's field and their home field. That's one of the home advantages there. Maybe you wait a minute or two, but no, they move those chains quick.
Quarterback keep, and a good run. Oh, wow, he stayed up. And a jersey tackle by Eric Asua on Ellison. He almost broke out of that and got even more.
Yeah, Asua this time, he does a nice job, but he's a little bit late, and that's why Ellison got a chance to turn that corner, but strong hands to be able to hold on to the quarterback. Now, both quarterbacks about 6 feet, about 185, 190 pounds, not big guys, and you can see Asawa's he's got some pythons on him. Those big guys on the outside, they've got a lot of strength. This strength program here is really second to none.
Second down and 2. On the carry for the first down is Breida, and the tackle made by Turner. And now Georgia Southern can settle down a little bit. Okay, they took a couple of hits, some big plays by Western Michigan. Obviously, being down 18 is not a good spot, but at least when you're running your offense your way and you're giving your defense a break, this is a good stretch so far for the Eagles. They're at their own 39. And there's the quarterback keep, nowhere to go there. Ellison gets bottled up by Asua again.
And Bailey and Andre Turner. I mean, everybody collapsed that time. They did a nice job. Now, they're getting beat up on that side, which is why you keep seeing Ellison turning to his left and moving on that side of the field. But that time, all three came to make that play. That's why it was just a gain of about a half a yard, maybe a yard.
So it seems like with Ellison at quarterback, that ball is definitely staying on the ground, whereas with Upshaw, they're going to open up the passing game a little bit. Second down and 9. Now he'll throw, and he's got a deep throw down the side and underthrown, incomplete. He was looking for Crockett.
And Darius Phillips on the coverage that time. A nice job staying with his receiver. Didn't bite on the run, fake. That's what these corners have to do. They've got to play against the man in front of them. They can't get beat deep on the occasional pass. Ellison that time, the ball was a little bit short, though. He needs to put that ball a little bit deeper down and give the receiver a better chance. He threw it a little bit short that time, and a nice job by Darius Phillips.
Georgia Southern 3 of 5 on third down conversions. This is a big one, though, 3rd and 9.
Inside receiver jumping that time. I think it was Keegan Williams, number 83.
First timeout, Georgia Southern. 30-second timeout.
So an 18-point advantage for Western Michigan. What a great start this has been, a September to remember for Western Michigan fans, and of course they want to finish it with how they started this game. Yeah, remember last year, we talked about how Georgia Southern just put the hurt on the Broncos. Again, there was no Corey Davis that game, but the heat, the unrelenting ground game. Look at that, Breida ran for almost 200 yards all by himself on 11 carries.
Yeah, look at just imagine, I mean, that is an incredible yard per carry average that he's got there, plus the 4 touchdowns.
Third and long, deep ball, far sideline, incomplete. And a flag, a late flag. The intended wideout was B.J. Johnson. We're going to have to look at this. I'm not quite sure.
Pass interference. Defense, number 18. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
That's on Sam Beal.
Well, and Ellison gets back here. His job is to put that ball up in the air and give the receiver a chance. He does exactly that on this particular pass. And I guess they're trying to say face guarding or something like that because he never looked back towards the ball, and I think that was the call. But B.J. Johnson doing a great job of, he beat the defender just by enough. He was there for the ball, but the defender just never turned around. That was the problem for Sam Beal.
So the Eagles take advantage and push into Western territory at the 45. Play fake, quarterback keep, the quarterback switch. This is Fabian Upshaw in a QB.
That's a new twist on things during the
series,
drive. Yeah.
Well, that's a lot. That shows a lot of trust.
Yep.
In your quarterbacks.
You know, I think part of the problem, and a lot of the time we don't realize just how fragile these quarterbacks are in terms of the mentality of being the quarterback. They've got to be out there, and these guys both, it just shows you a lot about who they are as young men, that they're able to go in and out the way they do.
Upshaw under some big-time pressure. He'll roll out and just throw it into the stands. And a flag not far from where some of his receivers were. I'm not sure what this call could be.
Holding. Defense, number 17. 10-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
That's on Justin Ferguson.
You know, he's an interesting young man. This is a guy who started off his career at Notre Dame, transfers here, and has had a really nice career here playing in that strong safety position, but that time apparently got his hands on him a little bit too much. They threw the flag.
From the 33, and wide open in the middle. This is Campbell. Touchdown, Georgia Southern from 33 yards out. Oh, they left it wide open underneath, and another big passing play gets the Georgia Southern Eagles back on the board.
I'll tell you what, it's interesting to see the way Upshaw is the guy who's throwing the football, and once again, he's back here, and nice job. They faked their normal running play, and right across, just a crossing pattern. It seems like there was some confusion there. Justin Tranquil, the other safety, number 2, he was continuing on to the other side of the field. It left it wide open for Campbell. 5'6", 170 pounds. He's a burner, and you can see that there, the way he was able to beat Justin Ferguson into the end zone.
Well, the Eagles showing some serious resiliency. A 9-play, 83-yard drive, aided by some Western penalties, but still, Georgia Southern finishing the drive, the touchdown throw.
Kickoff return earlier for Western. That is a thoroughbred racer that you want as healthy as possible.
Yeah, you don't want to see him walking off, although the further he walked, the better he looked. It didn't look like it was anything serious at all, but yeah, you don't want to see him hopping around out there. He's done a great job. He's former wide receiver, great kick returner, punt returner. Obviously, he's got a couple of touchdowns already in an early part of the year, and it's just amazing to watch what that young man's able to do on special teams. I think you said it perfectly. He is special, because he really is.
Ball gets moved back to the 8-yard line, so not good field position for Western Michigan, but it's been a great first half of football here at Waldo Stadium. Terrell hands off. Big run, big hole for Jamari Bogan. Out to the first down marker and then some for Western.
And you got to stay disciplined. As a defender, you've got to stand down there and you've got to do your job and you've got to stay in your lane. And when you don't, you open up a hole like that. And that time Bogan was able to find it. Gets out of a very deep hole. Now it's 1st and 10. Western Michigan's feeling a whole lot better of where they are right now than it did a moment ago.
Maybe some pressure on the Eagles defense too. You don't want Western to getting another score going into this halftime locker room. The game is still, reasonably close. Play action for Terrell. Way too much time, but a terrible throw, a rare one. Corey Davis intended, but that ball was going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I don't know if it slipped out of his hand. It was not only behind him, but it kind of floated around a little bit. Everybody always says it looks like a duck. It looked like a duck. It was quacking away when it went by him. Then
we think it gets tipped here if we.
Sure enough,
it did. Tipped to the line.
Yep.
Okay.
Bernard Dawson, nice job getting the big mid up there in the air to be able to knock down that ball. And people always wonder about these quarterbacks and their height. And Terrell's plenty tall. He's 6'2", so Aaron Rodgers and the rest of there's plenty of 6'2" quarterbacks out there. But nice job that time by Dawson.
Terrell pump fakes near side, open receiver caught and pushed out of bounds. That's an aggressive throw downfield to Carrington Thompson. And again, the big play potential for Western Michigan. It's not just Corey Davis.
No, it's not just Corey Davis. You got Michael Henry, who in the first quarter, a little bit deeper into that, did such a great job. But now, Carrington Thompson, after dropping that first pass, did a great job coming down in the end zone with a rifle from Terrell. That time, another one where Terrell puts the ball up in the air, gives him an opportunity to catch it. And now you're on the 50. This drive started inside the 10.
29 yards. Western's in very good shape after the long throw. Here's a little comeback to Davis, who can't spin away. Gets to about the 42.
Just short of the first down, but these guys, they're just moving, and they're moving along with that clock. They got 1:50, plenty of time to get some more points up on the board, and those cheerleaders better get ready.
And this is Michael Henry on the grab. Western Michigan gets him out of bounds, and they get a first down. So very important for the Eagles to make something happen here. They don't want Western Michigan to get this late second quarter score. And they're going to take a timeout and collectively regroup on defense.
And they need to. They need to figure out what they've got to do to get a little bit more pressure on the quarterback. They're not getting to him at all. He's got all day to throw the football back there. And you can tell by the way he's now starting to spread that ball around. It started off with it was the Michael Henry show. Started to bring Corey Davis into this whole thing and came back to Carrington Thompson after the drop. And now you're starting to see him move that ball around the way he is. And when you've got Jamari Bogan back there and Jarvian Franklin back there to run the football, you've got plenty of time to put more points up on the board. So they've got to catch their wind. You've got the timeout. Why not use it if you're Georgia Southern? Let these guys get their air back and get back in this football game.
So a good decision to take the timeout by the Eagles. Tyson hoping that there's some kind of a last stand mentality here for his defense here late in this second quarter. And he's hoping his pass rush can step up and put some heat on Zach Terrell here.
First timeout. Western Michigan, 30-second timeout.
Well, you did a good job of filling that last timeout. Why don't you share some insight on the Western Michigan timeout?
Well, my guess is I don't have a great answer for you other than to say that I think that PJ, all of a sudden, he looked at what the defense was lining up. Now, there's a lot of guys that came off the field as Georgia Southern took back onto the field after that timeout. Darius Sapp was out of the game. So maybe what they're wanting to do is, hey, look, if they're going to put in the pass rushers, maybe we're going to put in a running couple of plays in front of ourselves. And maybe the idea was we're going to throw the football, that shifts around, and with the smaller defensive linemen that are going to come after the quarterback, they figure, you know what, maybe we can still run this football. Minute 43 is plenty of time.
Western's at the Georgia Southern 35-yard line. Terrell on the play fake. Deep ball down the middle, way up in the air. Caught!
Wow.
Corey Davis, touchdown Western Michigan. That is unreal.
You know, he splits the safeties. He finds himself in the middle of the field. Zach puts the ball exactly where he needs to. Might have hung that ball up there a little bit too much in the air, but obviously he comes down with the ball. Corey Davis, you know you can try to slow him down. You can't stop him. And we've watched in the second quarter how he's exploded on this Georgia Southern defense.
Christian Matthew and Brinson thought they were right there. Just a nanosecond late. How did he know where to throw that ball?
And I think a great job that time by Corey Davis, kind of waiting, putting his arms up very late to come after that ball because the ball had hung up there for long enough. And this guy knows how to find the end zone, and he knows how to make a lot of grabs in a game. And it didn't come early, but now it's starting to come his way.
35-17, Western Michigan. The Bronco offensive onslaught continues.
And let's just take a look at the way what Zach is able to see back here. How much pressure is he getting? The blitz is on. They brought everybody, and yet nobody even close to him gave him an opportunity to step into that ball, throw it downfield, and give Corey Davis a chance. All you got to do is give that man a chance. 6'3", he's a big body. Finds himself right in the center of the field. Just about at the row right there of that goalpost is where that ball ended up.
Western Michigan's coaches told us this week, you know, we asked him, does Davis do anything special in practice that surprises you anymore? And they said, well, you know, yeah, he does. But the reason he is such a great player, and not just a very good player, is the work ethic combined with the talent. When you have great talent and combine it with a outrageously strong work ethic, you know special things are going to happen. And that's why Western Michigan is so dominant offensively when he's on the field.
Did you see Spears make another one of these hits on the special teams? Great job. And we talk about special teams and people being special, and wow, that guy's doing an outstanding job. He's going to find himself on the football field playing not just on special teams pretty soon, because coaches like PJ Fleck, they watch the kickoffs, they watch kickoff returns, they see who's working and who's not. And when a guy's running downfield like that, I'll tell you what, I think we got to keep a little bit of an eye on Corey Davis. He looked a little banged up maybe at the end of that play. You almost kind of wonder, he not just out of breath, but he looked a little bit phased by maybe you saw that grimace right there at the very end. Good timing, Corey. Thanks.
On first down, it's the carry with Rita. And Georgia Southern probably thought, man, we could get to this locker room only about a 10-point deficit.
Yeah, maybe even get that ball back, you know. I mean, the way they were playing, that drive started at what, 7?
They got the ball back. The problem is Western rolled up 7 points.
Yeah, that's not the way you want to get that ball back, that's for sure.
The timeout taken, so. And the problem for the Eagles, their passing game has been, maybe above average.
Yeah.
We never know what we're going to see from them when they go to the air, so that's been good. The problem is their defense just can't do anything to stop Zach Terrell and Western Michigan.
You're absolutely right, and I think you also got to give just an incredible amount of credit right now to the defense coordinator from Western Michigan, Ed Pinkham. Just an outstanding job. Now, when you look across over there, you see PJ Fleck, and this young guy, very vibrant and everything. Now you look at the defense coordinator. He's been coaching for 30 years. This guy's been around. He's an old salty dog. The players love him because you look at the way they played against Illinois. Look what they're doing tonight against Georgia Southern.
Upshaw at quarterback. They run. And Breida gets a little bit. Not a whole lot, though.
Let's not forget, Breida last year, he averaged almost 8 yards a carry. This is a guy who just on a regular basis is going to be somewhere between 6 and 8 yards every time he touches the ball. And yet this defense has absolutely collapsed upon him in that front seven. All the credit in the world to what these guys are doing up front. Keon Adams and Andre Turner and David Curley. And we talked about all these guys. They're making tackles on every play. You don't want the secondary making those tackles, but the big fellas up front, they're doing it.
Breida gets brought down hard at the point of attack. Caleb Bailey with a man-sized tackle right here.
Yeah, another one of these linebackers. Great read. He stepped right into that hole. The second he sees that guard go down, he heads right into the hole. He beats the center who's going to try to slide and grab him right there. Caleb Bailey, great job by that linebacker. Romeoville, Illinois, another Illinois guy. They are doing a great job. PJ Fleck played at Northern Illinois under Jerry Kill. He's doing a great job of going back into Illinois and finding some of that talent to bring him up here to Western.
Yeah. Western Michigan's recruiting has been just off the charts good ever since PJ got here. Surviving the one-win season.
You can see that energy and intensity, right?
See it. It just boils over.
Yeah. He's a lot of fun.
You know,
just infectious,
There's
right?
not blood in those veins. It's all adrenaline.
He's great.
So it's time to punt. 33 seconds left in our second quarter. That's Phillips.
Yeah, boy.
Watch out. Maybe don't punt right at him.
No, I'd kick it way over to the left somewhere away from him and towards that sideline.
Yeah, Matt Flynn's going to roll out a little bit, and ball bounces and is going out of bounds.
27 seconds, you're on the other side of the 49. No, he's putting points on the board if he can. Look at him. He's got energy, man. Oof.
And it's so infectious for his team.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He told us this week, you know, on bad teams, nobody leads. Mm-hmm. On average teams, coaches lead. On very good teams, players lead. That's what PJ Fleck has got this year with Zach Terrell and this Western Michigan Bronco team. Terrell, now some pressure. He'll unload. That's a harmless throwaway for Western.
And the right decision.
Right.
Once again, this is a smart quarterback. You've got to like all the different elements that he brings to the game because he can throw the deep ball, he can throw the short ball. When he makes the decision to run with the football, he does a nice job of tucking it, sliding, getting first downs, finding that open space. But on a play like that, why put that ball up in the air for a pick? Just let's start over again, 22 seconds on the clock.
How about those first half passing numbers for Western Michigan? Terrell will throw near side. That's incomplete. Looking for Henry.
You know, it's kind of interesting on this particular drive. I mean, that first play got a little pressure on him, throws the ball out. And on the second, look at the passing yards are, as you said. I'm still impressed with Georgia Southern's passing yards, though.
I mean, that stat makes you think, wow. You know, but really, Georgia Southern's not passing the ball that well. They're not even close to being in this game.
Yeah.
Terrell, all kinds of time. Now a little crossing route underneath for Franklin. A harmless catch. Ironhead Gallon on the tackle. And that's going to end our first half of football here in Kalamazoo. Western Michigan had big plays in the passing game, big plays on special teams. and they are charging to that halftime locker room with a 35-17 lead. Our Capital One halftime report. When we come back to Kalamazoo, it's the Broncos leading the Eagles here at Waldo Stadium. No, if you don't understand what Bronco football is all about now, anytime we can get locker room access and watch him motivate his team, praise his team, it's a lot of fun. He has really changed the culture of Bronco football. That's putting it mildly.
You know, he's got that same pace, and I go back to Lou Holtz, because the way he paces the sidelines and is positive. Lou Holtz always used to tell us when I was in college at Minnesota, positive mental attitude, PMA. That's what this young man has, and I think there's going to be a lot of people knocking on the door here.
So it's Eagle football and a good return. Malik Henry on the return for Georgia Southern, but couldn't get a whole lot, had a lot of speed. Now, offensively, a big challenge here for Georgia Southern. Their passing game has been pretty good. However, they got to keep going back to it, given the way the scoreboard shapes up here, down 18 points.
And you know what? The one thing I would say, Tyson Summers talked about the idea that, you know what, we're going to change these quarterbacks, and that's just the way it is. I think right now Fabian Upshaw's got the hot hand. I think you've got to use him as your quarterback. He's starting this second half. I think he's got to stay in there for the next few series to get this offense moving.
Upshaw keeps. That's a pretty good run. That's about 7 yards on first down for Georgia Southern.
Well, and what he brings is the ability, not that he's a great passing quarterback, but he's good enough if they have effectiveness running the football. That puts pressure on everybody to lean up towards the line of scrimmage, gives him a room to be able to throw downfield. But right now, Kevin Ellison is struggling.
If I'm hearing you right, you're giving Upshaw the nod for performance in the first half over Ellison for Georgia Southern.
Absolutely. At this point in time, absolutely.
Maybe not a huge margin of difference, but the passing dimension may mean a lot for Georgia Southern going forward. And now it's not a matter of ball control or time possession for them. It's a matter of first downs and touchdowns.
Yeah, and they can't panic, but they obviously have to look up at that scoreboard and realize they're going to have to chop some wood. They're going to have to make their way back into this football game, and it starts on the very first drive.
Ask and ye shall receive. How about the numbers? Well, you pretty much know that it was Upshaw that led the charge offensively for the Eagles. This is 3rd and short. They get a run, and they get a first down and a little bit more out to the 40-yard line.
Well, and you're giving it to a guy that we talked about. Matt Breida is just outstanding. I mean, he's done it in 2014. This is a guy who had 17 touchdowns, almost 1,500 yards. So he knows how to run that football and get it downfield, and he's going to give you that 5, 6, 7, sometimes once in a while 8 yards per carry. But they can't just leave the running game, but Upshaw gives them that second element of throwing the football.
Upshaw keeps. Not much there, maybe a couple.
How about watching big number 68 run down that defensive line and sliding and then making that tackle? This is a guy who's 305 pounds, big fella, and these guys all can still move. And that's, I think, what has changed in the last 5, 6, 10 years in football is how fast these big guys are.
David Curley's watching game film this week going, I got to chase that guy all night Saturday.
And yet he's smiling because he's making plays like that.
2nd down and 9. They're going to throw deep ball near side. Little push off, intercepted. Underthrown. Darius Phillips on the grab. He's coming back the near sideline. He's got blockers. He's got space. Touchdown, Western Michigan.
Well, you know, you got that great first half, and we talked about some of the differences in the quarterback and throwing and his ability to throw. That was not a good throw. Unfortunately, he didn't put enough on that football. He underthrew it, and B.J. Johnson had no opportunity to get himself positioned to come back to the football. Meanwhile, Darius Phillips, former wide receiver, he knows how to bring this thing back to the house. He got hit pretty late there, too, as he was releasing that football, and maybe that's why the ball didn't quite get as far downfield as he wanted. But Darius Phillips, this guy knows how to get there. He did it on that long 100-yard kick return, and How about this? Now the guy's got a punt return for a touchdown, a kick return for a touchdown, an interception for a touchdown, 4 games into the season. Wow.
73 yards on the interception return. And, you know, Western Michigan, they just hit you so many different ways. And the reversal of fortune from last year, we got an injured Georgia Southern player on the field who we'll identify in just a moment, but we'll take a timeout and reassess here in Kalamazoo. 41-17, the Broncos intercepting and returning it for a score. Western Michigan having a big, big night here in Kalamazoo. Fabian Upshaw was the injured Georgia Southern Eagles player who's been helped off the field. We'll try to see if we can figure out where he got hit as Western lines up for the point after. Butch Hampton will try to make this a even more comfortable lead for Western Michigan's Broncos. And he handles his assignment. And there's Upshaw on the side. Again, stat-wise, he definitely had the first half performance that was helping Georgia Southern, but he didn't come off the field so well.
No, and he gets hit, and you're going to get a chance to see it right here in slow-mo, but coming from the backside, that's big Keon Adams, who is hitting him high, and then his own offensive lineman there, the right tackle, Max Mugaya, just unfortunately falls right underneath his legs, and as he's getting hit, it's pushing him over the top, and you wonder if he might have stretched a knee a little bit, and he's definitely not looking too comfortable down there, that's for sure. Wow.
Caleb Bailey was the other Western defender who came in, you know, right from the front. So he'll hit the bike and see if he can maybe loosen things up, and well, that's going to make it easy for Georgia Southern to put Kevin Ellison back in. "2016, a whole lot different for the Eagles than the game in 2015. As here's Henry returning. He gets popped. Tranquil on that hit.
You know, it's interesting to see that you've got some of the starters on the defense running down on these kicks, and you don't see that on a lot of teams, but I'm not surprised. PJ Fleck, that's kind of who he is. He's going to have his best 11 on the field at all times. Whether that means you're a guy playing a position that was different than you came out of high school, or if you're a guy who's a starter on the team, you're going to be running down on kickoffs if that's something you're good at. And Justin Tranquil, nice job covering the kick.
24 yards on the kick return. And Kevin Ellison has the daunting task trying to bring the Eagles back in this game. He'll run the option, and it's a good one on first down. Breida on the toss.
And, you know, even though Ellison struggled in the first half, obviously he's not the thrower. We talked about Fabian Upshaw being the guy who's going to throw the ball if they end up having to throw that football. But Kevin Ellison runs this offense as a running offense as good as anybody can, and he does an outstanding job. And that time had a great trail with Breida. Those are the kind of plays we're used to seeing with Georgia Southern. We haven't seen enough of that so far tonight.
They get 7 yards on first down. Ellison keeps. Nice spin move, but all kinds of brown and yellow jerseys there to stuff him. Andre Turner is one of them, along with Robert Spillane. So,
yeah, and I'll tell you what, there's not a lot of room out there because we've been talking about discipline, and that's exactly what it takes as a defense. And you can see right there, he keeps him contained, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys coming around the football, and there's just nowhere for Kevin Ellison to go.
And that's actually a loss of 1. It brings up 3rd down and 4. Ellison, time to throw. Deep ball, poorly thrown, and incomplete.
Well, it didn't help because the offensive line did not hold up their end of the bargain that time for Ellison, and I think that was Keon Adams once again, number one, just putting the pressure on him, and there was no opportunity for him to be able to step into that ball or anything, and I'll tell you what, Keon Adams is really putting on a highlight reel for himself.
Monte Crockett was the intended wideout, and you know, when you look at the two teams' passing games, you see Terrell with so much time to pass, and you just can't give him that advantage. It's a rock-solid punt, and caught. Fair catch at the 30, and we'll break here in Kalamazoo. It's been Western Michigan with the big play, the interception return for the touchdown, adding their lead here at home on Georgia Southern's Eagles. Corey Davis, always a premier target in Western Michigan's offense, just now 35 yards away from becoming the all-time leading receiver in the Mid-American Conference. Just a tremendous night, a tremendous career. He's not the only weapon in the passing game, but certainly the more you watch him, the more you realize what a gifted and special player he is.
You know, and earlier in the game, you were talking about how hard he works. He just doesn't rest on what he's done in the past. This is a guy who got in the gym this past year, added another 10 pounds to his frame. He knows that if he gets that muscle on him, he can withstand being in the NFL someday.
They run on first down. Here's a big run. And Western Michigan getting the ball at midfield. Bogan pounding through the line and pushing ahead for Western Michigan.
Yeah, Jamari Bogan, I'll tell you what, he's got that speed. You know, you got thunder and lightning, and Franklin, we haven't seen a whole lot of him, but Bogan's just done an outstanding job when he's gotten the opportunity. And again, the big holes. Look at Big Okafor right there, number 77, Chooks they call him. 6'6", 333 pounds. This guy is moving people out and creating huge holes on that left side.
19 yards on the run. Here's Bogan again. This time, not much. Gets stood up at the defensive front there by Todd Bradley. There's the big hoss up front.
That is a big hoss. Here's the interesting thing about this kid. He came here when he came to America, and they didn't realize his age, so they shifted him around. When he got here to Western Michigan, I was told this by the AD, he was 16 years old. Is that amazing or what? This kid's, I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Welcome to MAC football. Terrell with a wide open receiver on the far side. It's Bogan, puts his head down, gets out of the 25. Jamari in the air is just as good as he is on the ground. Darius Jones on the stop, but it's a big pickup for the Broncos. 24 yards.
Well, and the one thing you always like to see is look at the block right there. That block by Corey Davis just shows you the team player that he is, and he was smart enough to get his head around so he wasn't pushing in the back. Just a great block to help out his teammate. What a great football player he is.
This is Franklin running wide. There's a flag. Jervion gets a couple, but this may come back.
Personal foul, chop block, offense number 77 and 65. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah, right when you highlight a guy, you're talking about how well he's playing.
He must have heard us.
Yeah.
Well, I can get away with something now.
I'll tell you what,
not.
we were talking about how great Upshaw's throwing the ball, and he throws at me. That happens, but they really have, and you and I have both been talking about this offensive line, how that front five has kept people off of the quarterback and opened up some massive holes for the running game.
1st and 25.
That was a bad call, by the way.
The Broncos have the only score on an interception return for a touchdown in this third quarter, complete in the middle to Henry.
Well, and Michael Henry, if we go back to the first half, where did he catch that football? It was always in the center of the field, some kind of crossing patterns. Once again, he's coming across the formation right in the dead center of the field, and a great job by Zach Terrell just firing him the football. And Henry, I don't believe I recall him dropping a ball yet today that's been thrown to him.
No, he's been razor sharp in the Western passing game. 2nd down and 16. Play action. Terrell camps out. Deep ball caught right at the first down marker, and then some for Western. Oh, great second effort by Henry.
Yeah, coming on a crossing pattern. What a shock, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's coming across the formations, the right side, the left side, and this time coming across, comes straight downfield, right down the hash marks, and then cuts across and gives a great opportunity to not only beat the defender, but Zach's able to throw him the football. It's just a pitch and catch. They're just having fun out there right now. This is an offense that's clicking.
23 yards. They're inside the 10. Not much on the carry for Jamari Bogan. Gallen on the tackle.
And you can just see it's just a pitch and catch. I mean, he's not that far away from him, but he's coming across the field. It's a long pattern, which means you have to wait and hold back that defensive line for a long period of time. Again, was there anybody within 5 yards of the quarterback? No, that makes it a heck of a lot easier on him to find those open receivers.
Henry with 7 catches, 118 yards.
Wow, what a night.
Off the charts. Those are Davis numbers. Terrell on the keep. He gets taken down. I don't know if that was the design play, but it did not bloom for Western Michigan. Logan Hunt on the stop up front. Well, there it goes.
Well, just great penetration that time by Logan Hunt. We haven't seen enough of that tonight, and that's why there are so many yards getting put up both on the running game and the passing game right now. But, well, you can tell the big guys, they're getting tired up front. They're big, and it's been a warm evening, even though we've gotten now this no sun out there, but they're puffing.
3rd and goal from the 11. Time, the comeback route incomplete. Wanted Keyshawn Watson. Darius Jones on the cover. That was pretty good. And the Broncos have to settle for a field goal.
You know, the one aspect that made the passing game seem like it could be a strong possibility tonight was you look at that secondary and they've lost a couple of people from last year, and because of that, you've got some fresh legs in there, and the competition level has not been that high coming into this football game. Western Michigan's played 2 Big Ten teams. You're not seeing the same kind of competitiveness on the other side for Georgia Southern, and those guys are getting schooled tonight right now by the passing game.
27-yard field goal by Butch Hampton, no good.
Well, you got to get a break once in a while.
We'll take one here with Western Michigan having their way on Georgia Southern. Broncos with the only touchdown in our 3rd quarter, and they're up on the Eagles. PJ Fleck with, you know, it hasn't been a perfect night. Here's Butch Hampton. This is not even a close miss, I don't think.
That looks like my golf game right there.
And there's no sugarcoating. There's some serious coaching going on.
Well, and I'll tell you, it's interesting to watch that because what I do, I like seeing that. I like to see the coach still engaged. They're winning this football game, but he's looking further down. He's not thinking about this specific game right now, and obviously we've still got a lot of game left, but he's coaching him for further down in the season, saying, hey, look, there are times where we lean on you, and you've got to put it through the uprights, and you cannot do what you just did there.
Ramsby on the carry. And again, we know that Fabian Upshaw left the game with an apparent injury on the next to last series. Here's a toss, and a pretty good one to Wesley Fields. It's good for a Georgia Southern first down.
Well, and you probably want to keep this thing on the ground. You want to keep just going back to what really you are as a team. And as a team, they are this spread and read option and all the rest of the different things you want to call this. But they've got to move the ball downfield and occasionally throw the football. But they don't have to go for that home run ball all the time. And that was more of something where Upshaw was a little bit better at it than Ellison. So run the offense that Ellison runs best.
Ellison on the keep. This is the kind of offense we expected all night.
Yeah.
And he's not moving too well.
I tell you what, they don't want that. They can't afford to get both these guys hurt in the same game and suddenly start to dig a little bit deeper because they're the travel team. You don't have as many guys down there. And I'll tell you what, you don't need to go down to your third quarterback today.
2nd down and 6 for the Eagles. Little carry wide, good power run on Brito. He's very strong, getting to the edge. Finally, they haven't done that too well. They usually try to turn it back inside, but on that run, Matt Brito able to get some burst on that edge and get some space.
He's got some speed, and he's able to get to the outsides, but they just haven't had enough opportunities to get there because the defense has been so disciplined and done a great job of turning everything back in. And a credit to those two defensive ends for forcing plays back in and not seeing plays like that where they get the outside edge and can get around for the first down.
From their own 46, big time pressure, and he avoids the sack, but man, that was dangerous for Ellison. Big pressure coming from Keon Adams and Caleb Bailey.
Yeah, those are two good football players that have had a great night tonight. We've been talking about Keon all night long, but Caleb Bailey seems to be getting more and more active. There's no doubt about it. I'll tell you what, between those two, they are collapsing and coming inside. And that's a nice blitz that time called by the Western Michigan defensive coordinator, Ed Pickney, getting that pressure on the quarterback early.
Ellison keeping and shuffling his way into Bronco territory. Spillane on the tackle, and you know that Ellison would like to be tossing a little bit more because he doesn't want to be taking the beating he's taking right now.
No, and he's got that limp going on, and you can see actually even on his right knee, you can see some blood coming out of near his kneecap there. And they're getting after him, and they are not making this easy. None of these gains have come easy for them so far, and they've had a couple of the edges, but for the most part, it's been a slugfest just trying to get the ball moved downfield.
3rd down and 4, and the run and the first down. Very good run, though, by Fields. Just couldn't quite get enough.
That's going to be close.
Is it close? He might have got pushed back. Ooh, they gave it to him. Wow.
Again, the home field advantage. They didn't even measure that thing. That looked like a measurement at least.
Wesley Fields had the touchdown catch early in the game for Georgia Southern.
Yeah, he's quick, and he hopped really well to that left side to be able to find that one opening to get that first down.
An option, keep. Oh, missed tackle. Not much after that. Ball is on the turf. Let's see if it's a turnover. Boy, a lot of yellow jerseys in there. Justin Tranquil was right in there. And it looks like Georgia Southern will hold the football, but it was close.
Yeah, you talked about Justin Tranquil coming up. Look at the way he comes up from that safety position. Just absolutely like, oh my goodness. And never gave up. Came back to get back on his legs for that tackle.
Boy, very tough for Ellison to reclaim that football. Comes loose there. Wow. Oh, man. Ooh, boy.
He just got that back.
Took a good bounce. There was about 4 jerseys right there. Ball's at the 44. Ellison's going to throw deep ball near sideline. Did he catch it?
Yeah.
Touchdown. Wow, what a grab by Monte Crockett. Had just enough to get ahead of Darius Phillips for the score for the Eagles.
Well, and that time Kevin Ellison did not get hit as he's trying to release this football and was able to step into it and launches the ball downfield only He threw it long enough, just Crockett can come down with this ball. But look, he's finally got some time. He can step into it and get that ball downfield just enough for Monte Crockett to come down with it.
Wow, tough catch, Phillips. Well, he had to hang his head for something tonight. He's got a kickoff return for a touchdown, an interception for a touchdown, and this time he gets beat for a touchdown.
But that's great coverage.
That was played very well, though. Yes,
he is on him, and just a perfect pass. You got to give Kevin Ellison everything.
Yeah, they're going to review it. I think they want to make sure he had possession when he landed. That's the only thing in doubt here. Got it.
Oh, he's got it.
Yeah.
And he tucked that arm underneath at the very end.
I mean, that's hard to hold that ball with one hand, and you're getting jostled.
Yeah.
But it gives us a chance to look at it from a different angle, which is nice.
That's a great catch, man. That's a great catch.
Koo will hit the point after. And there is still life for Georgia Southern.
Well, there's no way they're going to give up, and they're not going to ever quit. And this is the sign of this kind of a young coach who understands exactly what they are up against right now against Western Michigan. He knows it's a very difficult, but they've got a whole quarter. He's got a quarterback who now is going to get a little bit more confidence underneath him, and they started to find a little bit of that running game. So as big as that score looks like right now at 42-24, this is not a coach who's going to allow these guys to put their heads down and say, well, let's just get on the bus and head back down south. That's not going to happen.
So Western Michigan, a comfortable lead, but P.J. Fleck doesn't want to give up an inch. So
he's coaching, man.
He always coaches.
He's got that, even the guys who got that positive sort of flair, you can see he's got a little bit of that something, a saltiness to him when he gets in front of people, whether it's a kicker or occasionally the quarterback.
Bass on the kickoff. They try to kick away from Phillips. He'll down it in the end zone. It's been a one-man highlight reel tonight. And unfortunately, he was in somebody else's highlight reel on that last play.
Well, that was just, I'll tell you what, hats off to Monte Crockett and how he came down with that football, but Ellison as well, because at the very end, Ellison did finally get hit, but they held up long enough for him to be able to get that ball downfield, and Monte Crockett was able to come down with the football and strided his way into the end zone. And I'm not sure why they had to look at it 2, 3, 4 times, but great catch, great effort, and they putting a few more points on the board.
So the Broncos come on the field. Terrell on the run. Hands off, and they get it to Bogan on that carry. And if you're wondering about the status of Fabian Upshaw for the Georgia Southern Eagles, it's not looking good when he's out of pads on the sideline.
Yeah, when you start stripping down and taking off your shoulder pads, that must mean that his night is definitely over, and they put his helmet away, and it's going to be heading back down south.
Bogan on the carry.
Tell you, hats off to this defensive line for fighting, but this offensive line has won the battle in the trenches for 3 quarters. They have beaten them up and pushed them back and opened up some big holes and given Zach Terrell plenty of time to throw the football downfield for 3 quarters, and got one more quarter to go. But I'll tell you what, those big guys up front, they earn their keep.
Western Michigan 2 of 5 on 3rd down conversions. And the Broncos are going to punt here on 4th down and 2. Monte Crockett is standing at his own 25.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Coach isn't going to be too happy about that one.
Derek Mitchell's first punt went for 45 yards. Yeah, PJ Fleck, one of his mottos, success is not necessarily what you see on the scoreboard.
Well, there's always something to teach on.
Well, there's a beautiful punt. Fair catch at the 30 by Crockett.
Well, you put together a scoring, and then all of a sudden you come back on defense and you shut them down, and now you get an opportunity to get the ball back one more time. I'll tell you what, it's not completely ridiculous, although it looks like a very difficult hill they're going to have to climb. But Tyson Summers has not given up, and there's Kevin Ellison. He's walking back out onto the field, and this is a guy he's put his heart and soul into this football team for a long time, and he's been a starter for quite a long time. He was the freshman. He was named to the all-freshman team back in 2013.
They'll run, and they get a good run with Ramsby on first down, still pushing beyond the 35. L.A. Ramsby doesn't get as much attention in the running game as Matt Breida does, but still, we know he's a guy who does good things for the Eagles. We'll start our fourth quarter of football in Kalamazoo, Western Michigan. 4-0. That start is in their grasp as they lead the Georgia Southern Eagles. Fourth quarter football here in Kalamazoo. Georgia Southern not necessarily prepared to go quietly in the night. And yes, the cheerleaders rowing the boat, their arms are still sore from all the push-ups. They didn't expect a combined, 66 points?
Ooh, man.
Although maybe after last year, that's kind of what they did when the game was at Georgia Southern. And there's our third quarter numbers. Really, stat-wise, it looks pretty even.
Yeah, that's why that can be so deceiving, though. That's why there are three phases of the football game. There's offense, defense, and special teams. Special teams is the difference.
Look at the option on first down and a good keep for Ellison, who looks a little more comfortable there. Robert Spillane on the tackle. But I don't think P.J. Fleck is entirely comfortable yet.
Oh, he shouldn't be.
Georgia Southern is not going away. They run. This is Ramsby pushing up the middle. And with the injury to Fabian Upshaw, it seems like Georgia Southern is not going to go in the air unless they absolutely have to. Although they did have a touchdown throw.
Yeah, Ellison put that ball right on the money. Now it's a matter of getting enough time and being able to step into the football. But yeah, that last touchdown, that was a heck of a throw by Kevin Ellison. He put it right on the money, and a great job by Monte Crockett coming down with it.
Well, they get a lot of bodies in this lower side of the field. The helmet comes off of Ellison. Caleb Bailey on the hit. Dashier's got to leave the game.
He's going to have to walk off.
Well, this is going to get interesting. Who do you put under center when your other quarterback is already taking his pads off? Well, let's see what they run here. And they got to use a timeout.
Yeah. Man, I'll tell you what, he gets popped really well. Not a dirty hit, but just the hit that pops off this helmet here. Just keep an eye on him. Wow.
See, where does it come off? Kind of get pulled. Again, Upshaw left the game in the third quarter. So they'll have to run at least one play.
Well, with the timeout, that affords them to get opportunity to get back out there. So
yeah,
we'll get a chance to see him and see if they can keep kind of moving this down. Third down and about 5, I guess. So is this 4-down territory? Because we're already on the other side of the 50, and you look up at the scoreboard, you would think it has to be 4-down territory at this point.
Third down and 5. They hand off. They get the first down and then some. Big lunge ahead by Wesley Fields.
You don't have to worry about 4 downs when you do something like that. Wesley Fields did a nice job there, right up the center, right up the gut. They split it open, and they've had a couple of those. They haven't had enough of those, obviously, tonight, but they've had a couple of those where they've been able to split the big fellas in the middle and pop that ball up the middle for 7-8 yards.
Spillane on the stop. Here's a toss. This is Fields again. Dangerous tackle made at about the 32 by Asante Brown.
And you can see exactly what's in his eyes, and that read is on Keon Adams. Keon Adams, number 1 for Western Michigan, the defensive end, right there in front of Ellison. He pitches that ball out. Did the right thing. That was the right decision. Now you got to come back and keep on moving this chain.
Ellison throws deep ball. Oh, wide open and incomplete.
Crockett, again.
Way too much heat on that throw to Monte Crockett. Oh, he wants it back. Yeah, what's the flag? Says, give me that throwback.
Yeah. Just too much energy, too much adrenaline. He got too excited.
Oh, he's too wide open.
He took that step, and when you see him that wide open, you don't have to rifle the ball. Just put the ball out there for him to catch it.
That's how they scored their first touchdown on a deep throw.
Ineligible downfield. Number 9 was covered. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
So the formation, unfortunately, put them in a position where he is not an eligible receiver based upon where he is in the formation. But so maybe it's all the better. It gives Ellison a little bit of life, and that ball would have came back either way.
Boy, just so wide open and so overthrown.
Yeah, you don't want to miss those.
2nd and 11. Quarterback keep, nowhere to run.
I can't tell you why, but there was something wrong from the very beginning of that play, and you could see that if you were watching Wesley Fields, number 21, he's signaling to come back around to Breida, and they just never clicked.
Formation. Offense, 5 men in the backfield. That penalty's decline. Result of play, 4th down. Correction, 3rd down.
But that's 2 plays in a row where the formation is really what's screwing up that offense right now, and they're not in the right set. And when you look at it right now, you've got most of your, if not all of your starters on the field. Outside of Upshaw, the rotating quarterback situation, there's Wesley Fields, there's Matt Breida, and there's Kevin Ellison. So they've got to get themselves on the right page.
3rd down and 10. They'll throw, they'll complete near side, still up. B.J. Johnson stays up, gets the first down, and the Eagles keep their offense on the field. Big play.
Yeah, they did what they needed to do that time, and we've talked about the one receiver that coming into this, it was B.J. Johnson III, and there he is on the outside making a great catch and extending that play a little bit more.
They throw right back to him. This is complete, but this time nothing after the catch. Sam Beal steps up and puts the hammer down right away.
Sure did, but he still got 5 yards. He didn't get anything after catch, the yards after catch, the yak, but a great job that time of Ellison just rifling that ball out to B.J. Johnson on the left side.
They're at the Western 24. The Eagles aren't done yet. How about a bounce-off run? And this is Fields still up. Now he barely gets back to about the 20-yard line, so it's a pretty good gain, but a flag thrown, maybe a bad block.
Yeah, it looked like maybe a hold by big number 71, the right tackle. Didn't need to do it either.
Holding. Offense, number 71, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's on Max Magana, the senior from Las Vegas. If you're grading out the quality of the hold, well, it's pretty high.
Well, he got beat to the inside, and he just keeps staying on him and staying on him, and that's a real easy call for the referees when they see something like that.
2nd down and 15. Ellison, well, that got ugly, but he makes the handoff to Ramsby. Caleb Bailey on the tackle.
Tell you what, Caleb Bailey's another one of these guys having a great night. I mean, we've called his name I don't know how many times now at that linebacker spot, and he's part of the reason they're closing down on this option offense that's so difficult to stop, and you don't have enough time to prepare for it. You got to go through all these different drills on being disciplined. It really is hats off to Ed Pinkham to be able to get this defense to be able to do what they're doing right now and what they did last week with Illinois and what they're doing right now with the Georgia Southern offense in terms of the running game.
The Eagles have connected on their last 3 third downs. Ellison, a hot throw, complete, near side of the field, forced out of bounds. They hook up again with Monte Crockett, and a big play for the Eagles to keep the drive alive.
You know, Crockett, it's really been the B.J. Johnson show in terms of when they throw the football, which is not a throwing football team, but they are tonight. And it's usually been B.J. Johnson, but Monte Crockett, once again, he got that long touchdown pass, and Ellison's feeling more and more comfortable throwing him the football.
Well, they didn't get the first down, but they're going to go for it anyway. They're going to get the first down on the run. Not sure if he got it, but it's pretty close.
Really close.
Ramsby on the run. And a first down they get. And I'll tell you what, you know, we talked about this in the break. You brought it up, Pete. If the Eagles score, now it's a 2-score game.
Yeah.
So if you're Western Michigan and you think this game's all packaged up, you better think again. They power run in the middle. There's nothing there.
I'll tell you what, this middle linebacker, number 10 there, Robert Spillane, has just done a great job as well tonight. And he was a huge disruptor on that 4th down play. Now, they made the 4th down, but boy, he got in there and he caused a little bit of a reason for that heart to stop for Georgia Southern and the fans out here that would he get that first down? They did get the first down, and a nice stop there once again.
Ellison goes one way, tosses the other, and this is a run for the flag. Did he get it?
Yeah.
Touchdown. L.A. Ramsby gets the corner, the pylon, end zone. The Georgia Southern Eagles are not done yet.
Yeah, and once again, Kevin Ellison, he read that so quickly, got rid of the ball immediately to Ramsby, who then turns that corner, puts on the jets, and stretches to get that football across the pylon. Great job by that young man reaching for that, the pylon.
You know, as we see that on the replay, did his feet land out of bounds? I know they're going to review this.
Oh, yeah, they are.
It looked like his feet landed out of bounds. The question is, was the ball over the goal line before the foot hit? Now there you can't see it so well.
But the toe comes down, but then where is the ball when that toe actually touches out of bounds?
Foot down there.
But is that disputable?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't think they'll overturn it.
I don't know if you can.
I'm glad they're reviewing it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they come up with on this one. Wow. But how about the effort of that young man? That's a great play. And Kevin Ellison, he's been hobbled. He's limping around a little bit. Upshaw's already been knocked out of the game. And this guy has just gotten this offense. He got that great touchdown pass to Monte Crockett. Now he's been driving this team and throwing the football, running the football. And that time, great decision getting out to L.A. Ramsby to be able to turn that corner quick. And almost, and maybe, he's got a touchdown. It was called a touchdown, so they're going to have to find something that's going to turn the tide here.
Here's a good angle. Elevates, foot there. Oh boy, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, you can't say necessarily where is the ball during that time that foot comes down, which makes it so difficult. You need that little camera down there right on the goal line to be able to make the absolute. And I don't know that they can take this off the scoreboard. I think it's going to have to stand.
After review, the ruling of it stands.
There you go.
Well, they gave it a look. Probably not enough to overturn it, and it's now a 2-score game.
About 10 minutes ago, I don't think we would have thought that.
No. And really, you know, if you're Western Michigan, you know, P.J. Fleck is probably thinking, hey, our only score in this second half came off an interception return.
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably not the happiest of boaters right now.
And that missed field goal.
And the missed field goal. 42-31, the Eagles keeping it close here in Kalamazoo in the fourth quarter. Zach Terrell and the Western Michigan Broncos, they got a little work to do. It seemed like they might be able to pack it in early, but maybe not. And here's Terrell's numbers, gaudy. And the numbers don't really even indicate how important he is to the football team. As again, PJ Fleck told us this week, this guy is the heart and soul of this football team.
Yeah, and I think everybody learns and watches and they examine everybody on the team and they follow certain people. And I think the combination of him and throw in Corey Davis because he's worked so hard and some of the success he's gotten. And those are guys that you build programs upon them because they're such great people and hard workers to get where they've gotten to.
Bass will kick and Phillips will bring it out. This is a guy who's been a game changer all day. Not that time. Taken down at the 11.
The tide has changed a little bit, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
a
You feel
little bit.
that momentum swing that's been going on for
Well,
you know, really
there is still, almost 10 minutes of football left, and Western Michigan hasn't shown much of anything in this second half.
No, they haven't. They haven't shown the same kind of drive that they had going into the halftime in the second quarter. And the one drive downfield that unfortunately for them finished up with a missed field goal, and suddenly you start looking and. Before you know it, Georgia Southern is starting to put themselves in if they can get a 3 and out here and get the ball close to the 50, watch out.
Terrell will keep and run this way. Lots of space. Up the middle. Wow, great run. To about the 35, and he slides at the right time. Jesse Liptrot on the stop, but Terrell just an efficient quarterback.
Yeah, and you know what? Undisciplined on defense because they don't expect that, which is exactly why P.J. Fleck made that call. That was a design play. Force everybody to attack to the opposite side of the field, and there goes Terrell down the field on the right side. The defensive end was nowhere to be found, and instead of being in a hole, now they find themselves above the 30.
21 yards to the 34-yard line. Terrell's going to throw some pressure, and ball is incomplete.
I don't know how much pressure he's got on him on this pass, but wow, for a
More
guy
than usual.
Yeah, but here's a guy that's been so efficient throwing the football, and suddenly you see this ball get kind of floats on him, goes over the top of the receiver, and this is a little bit different as we've gotten into the fourth quarter than what we'd seen for 3 quarters, where there was a domination by the Western Michigan offense.
Second down and 10. Broncos trying to keep their offense on the field and bleed this fourth quarter game clock. Terrell throwing near side. It is caught by Davis. Taken down almost right away by Liptrot, who has had the unenviable task. Did I say that right? Unenviable?
I think so.
On further review? Yeah.
I've been hitting that so many times.
Unenviable. Stopping Corey Davis is not easy. 3rd and 2. Look at the Broncos not doing well on 3rd down conversions. Want to get one here. They'll run. This is Bogard falling ahead. And Bogan again continuing to attack the middle of that defense.
And a great job by the big guys up front, just exploding and creating a hole for Bogan to be able to run through that time. On a 3rd and short, you got to come up with a big play if you're on the Georgia Southern defense. They don't, and that offensive line explodes and opens up a hole for Bogan to be able to easily get the first down and a little bit more.
Bogan again going to run near side. Denied at about the 48. Ironhead Gallen makes the tackle.
He's had a pretty decent night, not a great night though. The linebackers, we haven't heard enough from Ironhead and some of the rest of the linebackers in there. De La Rosa, who had to step in and make his presence known, and it hasn't been known. The linebackers have not been stepping up the way they need to on the defense for Georgia Southern so far.
Terrell coming near side, incomplete. Davis couldn't haul it in.
Well, I'll tell you what, he had some heat behind that one when he's throwing it out there to Davis, his favorite target. But
And a flag.
Yep.
And it's been a late arriving pass rush for Georgia Southern. But Zach Terrell does not have anywhere near the comfort zone that he had earlier in this football game.
Right, and we've seen the ball a little bit, a couple of occasions now float on him. He had one tip pass as well, so.
Ineligible downfield. Offense number 59. That penalty's declined. Result of play, 3rd down.
Wow, that's a hot throw.
There's nobody going to question that arm strength that he's got. And I'll tell you what, this guy, he has got that out pass, and wow.
3rd down and 8 for Western Michigan. In the middle, complete. This is Davis pushing for that 1st down inside the 35.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you got a linebacker covering on Corey Davis, one of the premier receivers in all of college football, something's wrong with that defensive call. But you take a look.
For player injury.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing to me. That's not the way you want to play defense against a guy to that caliber. Wow.
Looks like R.J. Murray is the injured player. We'll take a break here in Kalamazoo and assess the injury to R.J. Murray. Western Michigan trying to hold back Georgia Southern and stay perfect on the season. P.J. Fleck working pretty hard in this second half. One of the young guns in the college coaching ranks, Tyson Summers on the other sideline. Another guy who's made a lot of noise at a very young age. Mike Norvell is now the youngest coach in FBS football right now.
Yeah, I covered his game a couple weeks ago. Wow, it's amazing how young he is, but how much control he has over that football team and that offense that he brings from Arizona State. Wow, he really puts up points.
Terrell on 1st and 10 for Western. Been kind of a lackluster second half for them offensively, but they want to finish strong, and that means getting some more points here on the Eagles. It's a run. Bogan working hard, getting inside the 30. Joshua Moon on the stop.
And you know what? They're going to the bread and butter. They started in the early part of the drive. First, they had that run by Terrell where he kept the ball and faked it around the outside and was able to get that ball from deep in their own territory further down. But it's impressive to watch what they're trying to do, which is they're trying to use a little bit of that clock, and they're giving that ball to Bogan, giving him an opportunity inside the tackles.
2nd down and 3 at the Eagles' 26-yard line. Terrell on the handoff. Bogan on the carry inside to about the 25, maybe the 23. And what's really hurting Georgia Southern right now is that clock keeps on ticking.
It's ticking and ticking. And they just need a couple possessions, but they aren't that explosive offense that's going to put the ball up in the air. At least you wouldn't expect so. But if they get that ball back, they're going to have to figure out ways to score quickly, and it's not going to probably be through that option that they run so effectively most of the time. They're going to have to put the ball up in the air.
3rd down and just 1. Now Western Michigan's going to take a timeout with 5 minutes left.
Western Michigan, timeout on the field.
Well, we'll take a break here in Kalamazoo with Western Michigan. One team will go home unbeaten. Western thinks they'll be the one. They lead by 11 here on Georgia Southern. This is the only time of the game that we have seen Darius Phillips on the sidelines not breathing heavy. He is our Capital One Impact Performance Player of the game. These highlights will tell you why.
And well worth it, the way this young man has been able to perform. And this kickoff return, this follows up, what was it, a week or two ago when he had a punt return? Yeah, 2 weeks ago, a punt return for a touchdown, and he follows it up with 100 yards later on a kick return. Wow.
And he's not done on defense. Got it? And I'll just go back the other way about 70 yards or so.
Yeah, I'd say that qualifies for an impact performance right there.
No doubt about it. Broncos trying to drain this fourth quarter clock, and there's the carry. Jamari Bogan on the run. That's going to be a Western Michigan first down. Well, this is about the game we expected, maybe a little bit higher scoring. And we didn't expect Georgia Southern to pass as well as they did. But that was kind of done out of necessity because they got behind early in this football game.
And if anything, I think we would have expected to see much better running performance out of Georgia Southern than we've seen, because this is a team that, you know, they are relentless, and they run that option and they move the ball downfield, and they just grind it on you and grind it on you. They have not been able to do that, and it's truly a credit to the Western Michigan defense and how they have stepped up the last few weeks.
Bogan on the carry. Doesn't get much, but hey, Western's not even really looking to get points here necessarily, but burning clock is what's critical for them right now.
And they're doing exactly that. They're burning that clock, and they're letting it tick, tick, tick all the way down. You can keep an eye on that clock at the bottom over there on the far right where it's 21-20, and they're going to use the entire next 18 seconds before they snap that ball, because they're looking up and saying, look where we are on the field, and we want to use this clock.
Bogan on the carry, gets hit in the middle. He's inside the 20, though. I'll tell you one guy who's rooting for this drive to maybe end a little prematurely. That would be Western Michigan field goal kicker, who kind of took a lot of heat. Butch Hampton really got some heat from P.J. Fleck after a bad miss earlier in this half.
He got his attention.
Yeah, you know. Yes. And there's good attention and there's bad attention. We think that was bad attention.
Look at how Terrell works this clock, though. I mean, he really is staring right at it.
3rd and 4. Terrell's going to go in the air in the middle. Caught. Davis dropped it. Incomplete, and a flag is thrown.
Yeah, well, it's the crown of the head. Well, I ducks his head, and it's the crown hitting him. You know, they're going to look at this thing, but I think that's what that flag's all about for sure.
Chances are this will go upstairs, and this will get looked at by the replay official. Boy, this looked like
personal foul, targeting.
Oh.
Defense number 10. The ruling of targeting is under further video review.
Yeah, that's on Vegas Harley. Well, that's tough because, you know, that's one of those things we talked about when you're reacting in real time. And, you know, when you were playing in the 80s, I mean, sorry, well, you know.
It's true.
It's true. I mean,
I just laughed because that's a long time
It's changed a lot. Well, when the rules have changed the way they have now, it's hard for a player to throttle back when it's just bang, bang like that.
Yeah, and it's so easy to sit here up in the booth or fans in the stands or even the coaches on the field to say, well, you know, he absolutely is targeting. I think in this particular instance, unfortunately for the defender, it looks like he ducks that head, so he's hitting him with the crown, and he's legitimately ducking beneath before the receiver himself is. So I think that alone is going to be part of the problem on this play.
And in fairness, he thinks Davis is going to come down with that ball.
Oh, yeah.
So he's got to hit him low, and Yeah, it's just tough.
It is tough, but he didn't launch his body or any of the. Well, here we go.
After review, the ruling of targeting is confirmed. By rule, number 10 is disqualified. Half the distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
Well, and what a turnaround that is, because it was a drop pass by Corey Davis, perfectly thrown by Zach Terrell, but it's a drop pass, and now because of what occurred after the play and the ducked head and the crown of the helmet, all the rest of those things that are going on there, it extends not only the play, but now they're going to be able to use this clock as much as they want to inside the 10-yard line.
So first and goal from the 8 for the Broncos. Down to about the 6. Jamari Bogan carries. Another workman-like performance by him.
And that big front five up front, whether it's Day or Okafor or Kenoy or Jariga or Moten, they have done a great job all night. They're sticking now. Forget between the tackles. They're running between the guards right now, and they're sitting there, and he's just handing that ball off, riding it with Bogan, and they're using that clock, that 40-second clock. It'll get down to 3 or 4.
Coming into today, Bogan was the leading rusher in the MAC. He'll get a run there. Didn't have anywhere to go. His helmet comes off. Liptrot on the tackle. So Bogan will have a sit for at least one play.
Second timeout.
The Southern, 30-second timeout.
So the visitors take a timeout, and Western Michigan, well, we know what's coming up for them. They start the conference play portion of their schedule with a big-time game in Mount Pleasant coming up on Friday night at Central Michigan. So the Chippewas will host Western on Friday night.
How great is that?
What an atmosphere that's going to be.
The atmosphere, the fact of what's going on in the MAC, but then what's going on within the state of Michigan right now, within the MAC, it's really something special. And that guy right there, that young man, I'll tell you what, he is a heck of a coach. He's a great motivator. He's a great recruiter, and he never stops doing any of those things. He's always coaching. He's always motivating, and he's always recruiting.
Correction, I read the calendar wrong. It is Saturday night, not Friday. Everything else is still intact, and that's going to be the must-get ticket in Mount Pleasant next Saturday, a 7 o'clock night kick. Oh, they toss far side, complete touchdown, Michael Henry. Why not? Between Phillips and Henry, they have been the big-time playmakers for Western tonight.
And they set that up just so beautifully when you think about you're giving the ball to Bogan, you're giving the ball to Bogan, and then suddenly Bogan's helmet comes off, he goes off to the sidelines, and oh, by the way, we're bringing in Franklin. We fake it right there to Franklin, and then whoop, just that pop over, and just an unbelievable night for that young man. When we talk and look at examine how great Corey Davis is, Michael Henry had a heck of a night.
Great night for that young man. A 15-play, 87-yard drive, but it eats up 7 minutes and 45 seconds. And that's going to take a little bit of the sting out of P.J. Fleck's speech in the locker room after the game. Not saying that it's going to be negative per se, but again, with Henry setting career highs in both receptions and yardage, he's smiling.
He should. He really should. This is just a well-designed play. Everybody gets sucked in. There's nobody out there. Corners coming from the outside. Everybody's coming in. They're all focusing on Jarvian Franklin. He doesn't get the ball. Nice job of selling the entire thing. And there on the outside is Michael Henry, who had a great night. You talked about career night. absolute career night for that young man.
And, you know, for Georgia Southern, their challenge doesn't really drop off next weekend. They are going on the road. This is the first of 4 straight road games. So they won't be back home until late October.
Yes.
So Tyson's going to have to hope his quarterback gets healthy. And a short kick. Taken by Amari Thompson for Georgia Southern.
And once again, it was Justin Tranquil on the tackle. I'll tell you what, you got to be impressed with who's on the field at what times and how many different players are playing different positions at times. And it's about not being selfish. You know, the guys are out there, they're playing as a team, and it's really impressive. And it starts with the head coach and his leadership on what this team really is with the Broncos.
So Ellison has taken a lot of snaps at quarterback in this second half after the Fabian Upshaw injury in the third quarter. Ellison's going to throw under duress, incomplete, no way.
Keon Adams.
Oh, and he got hurt. Look at him holding his elbow there. Well, that doesn't look good at all.
No.
Body language, none of it.
Well, we highlighted Keon Adams early, and this guy has just been coming from the outsides and putting pressure on the quarterbacks, whether it was Fabian Upshaw, who had to leave the game, or Kevin Ellison. They've hit the quarterbacks on almost every single pass. And whether that's a sack or not, that's a stat that should be kept by teams, because that is something that adds up, and suddenly you've got a quarterback, unfortunately, that's just gotten so banged around. It was his knee, and now it's his elbow. I mean, it's just amazing how many times they've been able to attack and hit the quarterback, even if it's not a sack.
So Ellison was not as good in the passing game as his counterpart Upshaw, but when Upshaw went down, it was all Ellison, and now it won't be. It looks like it won't be Ellison anytime soon.
Yeah, he's still struggling down there on the field. They've got him sitting up, and they're bringing him off the field now. But I guess on the positive side, it's not his legs, although you can see his right leg is pretty wrapped up as well.
Again, not a guy that's going to throw a lot of passes, and he's coming off slowly. So, new quarterback, LeBaron Anthony, sophomore. So Anthony's going to throw pressure, and he unloads, and it's picked off. Wow, they had big-time pressure coming at him. Intercepted by Justin Ferguson, and the Broncos have nailed this game shut.
Well, Keon Adams, just keeps coming and coming. He doesn't care who's in front of him. He's going to beat him, and he's going to get to the quarterback. And he came around the outside once again, and a great swim move back to the inside on the tackle. Left tackle's looking at him, and he's gone. And there goes Keon Adams upfield, and boy, he just did not have a prayer to get rid of that football. Wow.
Well, Keon Adams, we highlighted him as one of our impact players, and we hit that one right.
Oh, boy, did you ever. You picked him out, and I concurred. This guy, I'll tell you, he and Andre Turner, between the two of those big fellas up front, they just had a heck of a football game and putting pressure not only on the quarterback, but putting the line of scrimmage on the other side. And because of that, it reestablished the running game and pushed Georgia Southern into a very uncomfortable position all night.
Zach Terrell, you saw his numbers there. Efficient. What a high performance by this great quarterback tonight. Here's the pick, and there's the pressure.
Ooh. When you sell it that you're coming to the outside on that left tackle for the offense, and you sell it and you get it right, that swim move back into the inside is exactly what Keon did there. it was like picking candy up right there for him. He saw that thing, and boy, he said, wow, that looked like a good lunch for him when he got to the end of that whole thing.
So Western Michigan is going to end September with a perfect month. 4 wins. And it's been a long night for Georgia Southern. They put a hurt on Western Michigan when they went south last year to the Sun Belt. And the Broncos kind of return the favor tonight with Western poised for the first 4-0 start going back to the mid-90s. And the Bronco fans, they turned out in force tonight.
They did.
And now some of them will certainly go to Mount Pleasant for next Saturday's game against the
Third
Central
and
Michigan
final
Chippewas.
timeout, Georgia Southern.
Georgia Southern calling a timeout for no apparent reason. PJ Fleck,
Yeah,
maybe he doesn't think that's such a good move, but
I'll bet you he's not happy about that. He was figuring, hey, look, this is over. We're going to walk away, and what's the use of this timeout? But yeah, he's not. You can see it in his eyes. The intensity's there.
we could channel inside that head and just get some of those thoughts. Now there's a smile.
Yeah, but I think we know exactly what was in his head.
So the Broncos are going to punt. Short kick. No return. And the Broncos let it go. And Georgia Southern will run one play and then will officially crown Western Michigan as a victor tonight.
Well, this is the way you want to end the game because the defense gets out onto the field, and I give the credit to the defense for changing the tide in this game. The fact that they were able to stuff a running game that nobody seems to manage to be able to stuff, and they did that. They really did dominate in the running game. They gave up some passes, but they were willing to give those up because they were selling out to stop the run, which they did effectively, and that, I think, is really the turning point of why they had such success tonight.
Western Michigan all over that football. They pick it up and go out of bounds. So PJ likes that.
Well, you know who came around the outside again, right? I think that was Keon Adams once again, big number one.
You don't see many coaches jumping into their players' arms late in the game.
I love it. I love it. He's doing the chest bumps and the fist bumps and all the rest of that stuff. But Keon Adams comes around that tackle again and beats him this time to the outside. So he got beat to the inside on the previous play, and now comes right back again when they get back on the defensive side and beats him to the outside. Wow.
4 turnovers for the Eagles in this game. That's not going to help you win football games on the road anywhere. And that's going to put an end to this football game here in Mount Pleasant. The coaches will shake hands at midfield, and the Bronco fans rolling the boat with a 4-0 record to Mount Pleasant next Saturday night.
That's a happy coach. He's happy about how things went, but he's going to not stop. He's going to be coaching. There were mistakes tonight. There's no doubt about it. He will try to repair those mistakes and get into this whole MAC season. And 4-0 is the way you want to start. You can't do it any better than that, but there's always something you can fix and get a little bit better, and I'm sure he's going to be working on that.
A high-scoring game for the Broncos. For Pete Najarian, I'm Dan Gutowski. We say so long from Kalamazoo, Western Michigan. 4-0 after a 49-31 win over Georgia Southern. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.